Hey guys, it's the great and powerful mystery here. Just wanted to say before we get rocking and rolling into this season finale, me and Jay don't think any of you guys should go legend tripping. It can be very dangerous. But if you guys do decide on your own to go to any of these locations, remember to follow state and local laws, respect private and public property, and just treat the whole area with respect and dignity it deserves. All right. Let's get on to the show, guys. I got stuff for you.
Holy moly. I need to get some snakes and release them around my house.
But they love eating people. They love eating kids.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
Every day that you open your mouth,
I know, right?
I'm more convinced that you're abducted by aliens.
No.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
These are idiots.
I was laughing reading this because I already knew how you would feel.
Idiot. What part of the story fits your balloon?
Well,
This isn't a UFO. But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Well, Mothman.
Oh, yeah, Mothman.
Well, everyone, I think we know exactly what it is. So say it all with me. It was the sandhill crane.
Would you try it?
No.
You wouldn't eat it?
No.
Why?
Because they're probably toxic. There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree. Season finale, part 6.
What word did you say? Or you just...
Yes, I was trying to say yes.
Okay. I don't think it came out. Yes.
Do I need to redo it?
No, it's fine. I don't know what it was.
Okay, just a noise.
Yeah, it's just a noise.
That's fine. I am the great and powerful mystery.
And I'm J Clone 6. Season 6, J Clone Special.
Part 6.
Part 6, Season 6.
Is this the finale of the finale? We have no
gosh.
idea.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe.
We'll see. It's been long.
It's been a long time without you, my friend.
What song is that?
And what? I don't know the name of the song. I could sing most of the song.
I feel like you just mashed songs together there.
No, it's been a long time without you, my friend.
Oh.
And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
I know the song now.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't mash 2 songs together.
I
can't remember names of songs, but the songs I know how to sing.
Debatable.
I change random one word.
Yeah, but that can change the whole message.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
The next state
On this journey.
Indiana.
Gary. It's not Gary, Indiana. That was like the capital.
What's the capital then?
Indiana. Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Took me a second. I don't know why.
Fort Wayne is one that
That's just because it's right by us.
just because it's right by us.
Yeah.
It's not even a huge city. I like Fort Wayne.
I've never really stopped on
Sweetwater.
purpose.
Remember, we've been there twice.
That's outside of Fort Wayne.
I mean, kind of, but you still
Yeah.
drive through Fort Wayne. And I can never remember the name of it. There's an amazing barbecue restaurant that when we would go to Chicago from this way,
Yeah.
that we'd always stop at. I know the exit.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the exit. I just know like that's the exit. You go left and there's a barbecue. Like it's got a pig as a mascot. Like 80% of barbecue restaurants, but it's Indiana famous.
Mm.
And then I've talked about in Fort Wayne. There's also, which that has nothing to do with this, but there's another restaurant, another barbecue place that I cannot remember the name of. I went a long time ago. Has tons of world record like trophies and rewards.
Okay.
And it's this little black lady that's the cook, the smoker, the master chef. And she has like 85 workers, and she lets nobody near the smoked meats. It's the best food you'll ever eat. So
it should be.
Barbecue is one of 2 ways. The meat's really good, and the sauce is like just okay sauce. Or the meat's okay, and the sauce is really good.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few locations I've ever been to.
They hit both?
It's both.
Wow.
Because she hand makes every sauce, and she hand smokes every meat.
Do they apply the sauce with a mop? That's when you know it's good.
No, all of it comes, quote unquote, dry.
Yeah.
because the meat you eat the meat by itself and it's just amazing.
Right.
But they give you a tray to take to your table,
Oh,
like
I
a
see.
6-pack of bottles,
Gotcha.
and you apply it as you want it.
Customized sauce.
Because I mean, some of them are really strong, like depending if you want the spicy one or whatever, But it's really good, really good food.
Oh, good.
Indianapolis, you got it right. What's the cryptid paranormal thing you think of for Indiana?
Oh, Indiana. Let me think here. I'm sure there's one that should just pop right in my mind.
And when I say it, you're going to be upset.
It's not Van Meter. That's up north.
That's Iowa.
Yeah. Oh, what is it?
Well, for me, it's the Beast of Cherubasco.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Bosco.
Yeah. That's probably, yeah, I guess that would be the one.
Cherubasco Turtle Days.
I just think of that or just boring.
I like Indiana. What's wrong with Indiana? Our part of Indiana is just like our part of Ohio.
And what, boring and...
Yeah, corn. I mean...
I've never really had a good experience in Indiana.
Okay, so, I mean, Indiana, southern Indiana has some really cool stuff. Like the Ohio River Valley stuff. It's gorgeous down there.
Mm-hmm.
Our part, I mean, I've never really...
northern Indiana is just a little sketchy everywhere I've ever been.
I mean, the big college towns are just like any big college town.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the colleges kind of make them rough.
I've driven by Gary, Indiana, and I was scared.
The Wabash River is really nice. And Wildcat, Indiana.
Oh, nice.
That's where if you want to... No, maybe I shouldn't say that. There's a really special fish there. It's one of the few places in the Midwest you can actually catch it.
Is it a darter?
I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to say what the fish is. I'll tell you after.
Does it start with an I?
No.
Okay, never mind.
What? Oh, an Iowa darter?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what fish that starts with an I that's special? And I'm like, Iowa darter would be the only one.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. No, this is a really cool one. This is a really unique. It's another ghost. We have picked up. There's a lot of ghosts, and I try to get as little ghosts as possible. But this one was too cool not to do.
Okay.
And this article was by Liz Carey, and it's a really fascinating story. So, visiting the dunes on a dare, a ghost story of a nature-loving recluse that inspires a challenge in our national parks. A story of a woman escaping the trappings of modern life over 100 years ago inspired ghost sightings and the educational walk at Indiana Dunes National Park. So Indiana Dune National Park is a really cool place.
Like sand dunes?
Yeah.
Really?
100%.
Huh.
Michigan and Indiana have some really, really cool sand dune places.
I knew Michigan did.
Indiana has a couple really, really cool ones.
Huh.
Once you get up around Lake Michigan and stuff like that. Keep in mind that Indiana's a weird state, like Ohio's a weird state, with all the different areas it touches.
Biomes?
Yeah. So it touches Lake Michigan, which is really unique compared to like Lake Erie. Very different bodies of water, the sand deposits and stuff like that. But no, this is, a really cool story. I just had to, so Alice Gray, also known, so if you just, Alice Gray will get you nothing with this ghost.
Okay.
That's her actual name. But she's called Diana of the Dunes.
That's better.
Yeah, but that's the name that the people gave the ghost. It was Diana of the Dunes. Her real name's Alice Gray, also known as Diana of the Dunes. Is one of her shelters. She built shelters all through the dunes. She's like a recluse that lived out there. Super cool. Walking along the shorelines of Indiana Dunes National Park, you may get a glimpse of a pale, naked woman diving into the water of Lake Michigan and running along its shores. For years, people have reported seeing this ghost, whom they believe is one of the area's most famous legends. And now the National Park Service wants you to walk in her footsteps, that the ghost still walks to this day.
So it is an actual ghost?
So there's both the lady herself, Alice herself.
That's where I'm confused.
Was an actual legend her whole life.
Okay.
And when she died, her ghost kind of took over the legend.
How do they know? Wasn't she a ghost the whole time?
The people knew her.
Okay.
When she left and when she started moving out to the Dunes Park and stuff like that.
Okay.
People knew her. You could go see like her shelters, or one of them is still standing at least in the national park.
What if she transcended into a light being? She's still alive.
So ghost hunters in and around Ogden Dunes in Gary, Indiana, believe the ghost is Diana of the Dunes, a 1920s era woman who lived in the park. And while encounters this spectral being say that she's a skinny dipping in the lake, or fantastical tales to tell around the campfire, the real story of Diana of the Dunes is far more interesting than any ghost story. This lady was wild in the best ways. Diana of the Dunes was the name given to the press of the mysterious young woman whom fishermen said bathed in the lake and ran through the sands to dry off naked. So anybody that came fishing too close would see. Sometimes they think she was a mermaid, this young naked woman, and she'd run off and disappear into the sand dunes.
I wouldn't even know what to think. Well, I guess
Lake Michigan's always cold.
Hold on. She's living in Gary, Indiana. Never mind.
That's where
explainable.
One of the biggest cities nearby.
That's still explainable.
Have you ever been in the sand dunes?
No.
It is, in my opinion, for my body shape, the absolute worst environment to be in.
Why is that?
Short and heavy.
Yeah.
You can't move.
Okay.
You sink with every step. You cannot run. Me and Emily, for our honeymoon, did the Sleeping Bear National Park, which is a national sand dunes park, just like this park. We did the one hill, which is not the challenge hill.
Yeah.
It is the base hill.
Just to climb it?
Yeah. It took me 45 minutes, and I had to stop, almost threw up several times.
Jeez.
And then if you do the one, they tell you that it's $10,000 to come rescue you from the bottom and expect a 3.5 hour climb back up.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
And then you just see tourists just start walking down it
Oh, you walk down it.
Getting out
is the
problem.
Okay.
You can walk down them. So other stories of the girl living alone and skinny dipping in Lake Michigan reached the press. Reports flooded the beach looking for her. So everybody's coming out to find this lady. It didn't take long for the myth to form. Reporters claimed she was the daughter of a doctor who fled society. They dubbed her Diana of the Dunes, after the mythological Roman goddess. They described her as a hermit, foraging for food. They hounded her for interviews. They made her a local celebrity. Now, obviously, this is a lady that doesn't want to be a local celebrity.
Right.
But the real Diana was much more complicated than that. According to the Diana Dunes, the true story of Alice Grace, written by Janet Zachary Edwards. Diana's real name was Alice Mabel Gray, the daughter of a laborer. Alice had 3 brothers and 2 sisters, as well as a very close relationship with her mother. At the age of 16, she entered the University of Chicago, where she became a member of Phi Beta Kappa Society. Graduated 6 years later with honorable mentions in astronomy, mathematics, and Greek and Latin literature.
Smart lady.
A very accomplished woman.
Okay.
After college in 1903, keep in mind, she went to college in 1903.
Pretty big deal back then.
For a woman going into mathematics?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot. She went to work for the U.S. Naval Observatory as a mathematician, but left the post 2 years later to take a graduate course in the University of Groningen in Germany. She returned years later when was employed as a stratigrapher at the University of Chicago.
Okay, so she made maps, I think.
Yeah, celestial maps, I believe. Really crazy lady.
Yeah.
As in a very, very intelligent, well-accomplished woman.
Sounds like my kind of lady.
Well, I mean, especially with the next part. By 1915, she became distressed with her job. She disbanded wage-earning labor, calling it slavery, basically saying that, women are being paid
She gets it.
nothing.
She knew it back to 100 years ago.
And loathed the need to constantly work to support herself in Chicago. Some reports indicate she may have been in a love affair with a professor at the university that went badly. That's pretty much just hearsay.
Yeah, I would believe that too. Because she was on to something. She was tearing down the system.
Later that year, she left Chicago and headed to the Indiana Dunes, taking up residence in an abandoned fishing shack called the Driftwood.
A shack?
A shack in the sand dunes.
Alice.
She lived there peacefully, living off of fish and berries in the park, making small trips to nearby cities to purchase supplies and borrow books from the library when needed.
Dang.
After a fisherman reported seeing her in the waters in Lake Michigan, the story eventually got to the ears of the Chicago reporters. After all, women didn't just walk off and live alone in the beach in the early 1900s.
No.
Very rare for any of it. They didn't even have the right to vote yet. Newsmen went to the shore in the search for the interview. Whether those interviewers ever happened or not is not clear. But on July 23rd of 1916, the Chicago Examiner ran an article about Alice. Her reason for living alone amongst the dunes? I went to live my own life, a free life, she reportedly told them.
It's music to my ears.
With it, I guess you called me the witch, and I guess you're Alice.
I'm Alice. Gladly.
So, I'll burn this town down. I'll do it. Within weeks, a dozen articles around the world start calling her Diana of the Dunes. Not her name. Clearing the water like milk white dolphin came a mermaid. She made to the shallows, rose up out of the water like a fabled nymph, fitting into the shadows, wrote one of the reporters from the Lake County Times in 1916. I worked a lot in Lake County.
Did you?
I used to have keys for all the Lake County gates
Ooh.
when I was working in fisheries in Chicago.
Wonder if anyone was to Alice's gate.
No, I mean, this is a reporter from Lake County. She lived in Indiana.
Darn it.
They're very close, but not like...
Oh, okay.
The story turned her into a celebrity. People wanted to get to know why a well-educated, city-dwelling young woman and how she could make such stark conditions survivable. Visitors flocked to the area, trying to see her on the dunes and view her shack from tourist boats on the lake. Gray tried to avoid them at best she could. Her celebrity, though, did more than create interest in her lifestyle. It created interest in the dunes. So as more and more people moved to the area and developers built more and more houses closer and closer to the dunes, Diana began to publicly come out and speak about the need to preserve the dunes and natural landscapes that she loves so dearly. In the editorial, the talk about the Prairie Club in Chicago, Alice told the ventures of saving the natural beauty of the dunes. Her story, or had her story ended there, the romantic version of the rebellious young woman living in her life on her own terms were wrapped up quietly. Instead, Alice took it up with a man named Paul Wilson, a local fisherman and carpenter with a dark history of run-ins with the police. Wilson earned money by crafting homemade furniture he sold to local residents and tourists. The couple moved into another home on the dunes. This one was called Warren's Nest. Although Alice referred to Wilson as her husband, no record of a marriage was ever found. Historian Richard Marsh has said, things turned from good to bad for the couple around 1922. He said it was that, then a body was discovered near Warren's Nest. Authorities suspected Wilson, with one of the deputies, Eugene Frank, accusing the couple of breaking into a nearby cottage and stealing fish. The couple confronted Frank, and a fight ensued.
So whose body was it?
So this guy named Frank. Wilson was then shot in the foot.
Oh.
Alice suffered a skull fracture. And after the recovery of their injuries, they returned to the Warren's Nest that had been ransacked, and a manuscript Alice had been working on was gone. Charges were brought up against Frank, but they were dropped when Alice and Wilson failed to show up to court. So, Frank probably attacked them, shot Wilson in the foot, cracked Alice's skull. They were done with society. They didn't ever want to go back in. Charges were, like I said, brought up, but Wilson eventually cleared all wrongdoings in the case of the dead body. With the area being more and more developed, their population growing, the couple decided to move to Texas, opting to float down the Mississippi on a 20 by 20 foot raft salvaged from a steamship.
Nice.
For the unknown reasons, however, they returned back to the dunes a few months later. Edwards wrote asking for permission from a landowner to return to the beloved Warren's Nest. In 1925, Alice was diagnosed with a kidney disease, but opted not to receive any treatment. She died in February 8th of urethra poisoning. Her tombstone is in the Oak Lawn Cemetery in Gary, and it reads, Alice Grace Wilson. Alice's legacy, however, lived on, and in 1966, Indiana Dunes became a unit of the United States National Park Service. Kim Swift, Director of Education of Indiana Dunes National Park. And in 2019, it became the Indiana Dunes National Park.
Okay.
So it got lumped in with everybody else and then became its own national park on its own right.
Gotcha.
To honor Alice's legacy, this park has launched the Diana of the Dunes Dare. Visitors of the park are encouraged to walk along the 3 dunes that Alice walked every day. On June 5th, a part of the National Take a Hike Day, the park hosted the 50 visitors who came to walk the trail and enjoy the park. Whether Alice went to the dunes to find a place to live, or to find solitude, or to leave society, is up to interpretation. So this is the story of Diana of the Dunes. Alice Gray.
What do you think she did? Why she did it?
I think she was fed up with commercialized life. Yep. I think she was an incredibly intelligent and caring woman. I think that she accomplished what she wanted in her education, and then tried to work in an industry and realized how incapable it was, not due to her own shortfallings, but society's shortfallings.
Well, the way that we structure life around work.
Yes.
And not around life.
And I think she saved the dunes. She really did.
Huh?
She saved the dunes.
Wow.
Maybe I skipped over that too quick. Basically, when she started coming out and publicly speaking about it,
right,
she was a celebrity and a legend.
Wow.
So imagine like a Bigfoot. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but imagine you have this legendary character
Like Greta Thunberg.
No, a person a thing you don't even know is real. Really, that you really don't know is real.
Right.
Comes out of the dunes and talks about the beauty of nature and how these need to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world's eyes were on her.
Right.
And they ended up getting saved. If it wasn't for her, they would have been bulldozed and developed.
Yep. Of course, like everything in this world. In Western society.
So after she died, about a year after, people still claimed to see her. Some of the people didn't know she was dead. They thought it was her.
Just still her.
Yeah. Walking the same paths, swimming still, skinny dipping, doing all that stuff. She never left the dunes.
What a good woman.
But you can do this dare. Apparently, it sucks. It's hard to walk in the sand dunes.
What, doing like the three hills
the
she
dare,
did?
the Diana of the Dunes dare.
Dare, yeah, triple D. Yeah, I don't know. I would try it. I think we should.
I will not.
I would like to see if someone has ever visited her gravestone or something. Maybe we should do that. Go visit her
It's
gravestone.
not that far.
Yeah, it's not. Oh, I just need to find me a Diana. No, not Diana.
Alice.
An Alice, yeah.
Okay.
She understood though. She understood.
She understood the assignment.
She broke free from the paradigm of modern society.
I mean, she's a really incredible lady.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. What?
Well, I think really intelligent people do that.
A lot of them do.
They just snap because
Or
they realize
become eco-terrorist.
more of that, like Kaczynski.
Oh, he wasn't an eco-terrorist, but he was a terrorist.
Oh, okay, yeah, they should come, yeah. But for rightfully so, he had his reasons.
I don't
think his actions were the best, but he was pushed. He was pushed.
And once again, at the beginning of these episodes, you heard the warning at the beginning. We don't think you should go to these places, but if you do go to these places, be respectful, follow local laws, and and just be respectful of everything.
Right? Yeah.
I know Sleeping Bear Dunes. That's the only one I've been to of these, like into these dune places, and they're really cool. This is one I definitely want to go to. Ready for the next state?
Yeah. What is it?
South Carolina.
Ooh.
What's the capital?
Charleston.
Got you on 3.
Dang it.
Columbia.
What's Charleston? No. I don't know.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. Columbia. Dang it.
South Carolina. What do you think of for South Carolina?
Ooh. South Carolina.
It's very different than North Carolina.
Yeah, it is. Well,
I mean, they really are culturally, and
I think of Myrtle Beach first. My first thought. Gosh, I don't know. South Carolina. I'm sure we've covered one in there, but I don't know.
I mean, it's hard for me to just, like, as far as the paranormal side of it.
Yeah.
Because the Carolinas, North Carolina, I think of like the Brown Mountain Lights. And there's just coastal UFOs, sea monsters, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But what's in South Carolina, like specifically? I don't know.
I can't name anything off the top of my head that we've done.
Yeah. I don't name me either.
Oh, this story is the Gray Man.
Okay.
And this article is from Megan Overdeep. I'm going to assume that's a username because I doubt her last name is really Overdeep.
You never know, though.
I mean, I get it. Weird last names. The Gray Man is a South Carolinian ghost said to warn locals before hurricanes. In the past 200 years, locals say the Gray Man has only appeared in the last 200 years, locals say the Gray Man has appeared before each of the 6 hurricanes to make landfall on Pawleys Island. Pawley's Island.
Pawleys.
Like Pawleys.
Yeah.
So yeah, every of the 6 hurricanes in the last 200 years, everybody sees the Gray Man beforehand.
What do they see?
Okay. The legend of the Gray Man is a translucently cloaked figure who appears on the island when massive storms are due to hit. It is one of Carolina's most heard stories. Who is the Gray Man? Though decidedly spooky, the Gray Man is hardly a boogeyman. Unlike other spirits of legend, the ghost serves what seems to be a wholly altruistic purpose. He only wants to save lives.
That's what they say.
It's a story, from Rena Fortune. It's a story I had heard growing up. The puny island resident told Yahoo Lifestyle. I think everyone in the lower county has heard the story, especially when hurricanes or tropical storms begin to form around our area. It's everything they hear people bring up. He's a friendly entity. Not that he's a good thing, or not that it's a good thing to see him, but when somebody does claim to see him, it gives us locals an idea of what we're dealing with. And many locals actually respect a Gray Man sighting to leave. So a bunch of these locals actually use the gray man to determine if they're going to try to wait out a hurricane or if they're going to go inland.
Huh. Okay.
So, like I said, like whether he's
like the Groundhog's Day.
kind of,
Yeah.
and there's up and down the coast when I was doing this, I found a lot of these similar things, whether it's lighthouse ghost or
That are what, like warnings or harbingers?
harbingers.
Yeah, I can never say that word.
Harbingers.
Harbingers.
You just gotta. It's one of those words you just gotta ignore the spelling.
Right. Yeah. Just say it.
And
I
just-
still can't just say it.
It's yeah. No, so it's one that people highly respect in the area and take it very, very seriously when he is seen. So when is the gray man seen on the island for superstitious locals? The appearance of the gray man is a good sign that it's time to leave.
Time to get out.
It is said that those who have heeded his warnings and ride out the storm safely within their property it is said that those who heed his warnings will ride out the storm safely and their property will remain mostly undamaged.
We need someone to make a meme of the gray man. It says it's time to make like a tree and get the heck out of here.
Some residents of the island believe he has most recently stirred from his slumber for the hurricanes and Florence approach in 2018, and then again in 2022 with Ian. In the past 200 years, the 6 hurricanes that have hit the shore of the island, Hurricane Hazel in 54, Hurricane Hugo in 89, and the Hugo claimed estimated 119 lives between them. According to the locals, the gray man appeared for each of the 6 storms. So the origins of the great man. There are a few different origin stories of the fabled man, many of which involve a lovesick sailor returning from sea. Others believe he's the original owner of the island, George Pauley, who died in the 1700s. The gray man first made national news when the couple appeared on Unsolved Mysteries, claiming they're sighting the gray man before the Hurricane Hugo in 89, and they had saved them in their home. So if they wouldn't have seen the gray man, they were going to sit out and ride the storm. When they left, everything around them except their home was destroyed.
Wow.
They came back, whole houses were gone and everything.
And theirs wasn't?
Yeah. And they fully believe it's because they left. They followed the legend. They left and their property was undamaged.
Like he protected it somehow because they listened.
Yeah. So when to evacuate from a hurricane? So when hurricane season from June 1st to November 30th, the summer approaches, coastal residents are advised to create a survival kit and plan for safety. So yeah, you can go to this island. He pretty much appears only in hurricane season. When he appears a ton.
So it's not just like a one-off thing?
No.
Okay.
Dozens, if not hundreds of people see him. And sometimes it's like a week to 2 ahead of time.
Wow.
And he'll be behind people's houses. It's just a huge gray, like when they say translucent, I think they mean like kind of, see-through. Like
right.
Translucent
That's
means,
what I think. Because what you got? Opaque and translucent?
Almost like a jellyfish is kind of when people describe him is how I get it.
I think that's fair.
Is that you can see he's there and he's just a gray, like shaped like a man. People say he's like 10 foot tall. And it's so odd that he seems so scary in some of the depictions. I've seen some drawings of people that have claimed to see him. And when a lot of people say, okay, thank you. We got it. And they leave.
Well, maybe that is just a warning thing. I don't know.
We talked about it in the Santa Claus episode.
Yeah.
That if a human wants to do good so much that maybe there's something that happens from that as a byproduct after they die.
Yeah.
Maybe he lost somebody or lost everybody, lost everything in a storm.
Yeah. And now spends the rest of the time warning people about
Hey, it's time trying to save others.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to do what he could not do for his own.
Makes sense.
I mean, it's very interesting. And it's one that I love it because a bunch of locals take this extremely seriously.
They'll talk about it. They won't say like, they won't treat it like the Frogman here in Loveland.
No, but if they see him, they're like, I guess it's time to head on out.
Right. Trying to pack up, board up the windows.
Yeah. So what do you think of the gray man?
That's a good one. It sounds like we need more of them along the like Florida and.
Who does he sound like? Do you remember?
Mothman?
No, the ice fishing ghost.
Oh yeah.
And the snowmobile ghost.
Snowmobile ghost.
From the ice fishing episode? The one that would run you off the trail and stuff like that?
Okay. I forgot about that one. I did, the snowmobile ghost, of course, duh.
And the ice fishing ghost leads you to good fishing. Safe ways.
Always trust an ice fisherman.
Yeah, I always trust an ice fisherman. No, I really think that there are, I don't know what they are. I don't think they're actually human spirits.
Yeah.
And it still may be that thing we talked about last couple episodes, elementals.
Like imitating this,
but taking the nature of the person they're imitating. I think the big difference between Fae and elementals is intelligence and I guess, cognitive ability. To
Okay.
where they may not have a will of their own, elementals per se.
Okay.
So if there's a strong enough will presented to them,
Then there's a way.
it may imprint on them.
Oh, okay.
And they may kind of just become a flashpoint of that person.
Or like a reflection. Yeah.
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 I really think that may be some of these whatever ghosts. I think ghosts, like we say with Bigfoot, it's just a big umbrella term for ghosts, probably hundreds of different things.
Whatever phenomena it is. Yeah.
I mean, everything from demons to electronic parrots
And all in between.
and all in between. But yeah, so I mean, I like the Gray Man. It's one of these. I just love it because how serious everybody takes it.
Right. And it's not a bad thing, too.
No, like the article writer said that. While it's not necessarily good to see him, he's not bad.
Right.
It's just like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. I thank you, Gray Man.
Right.
Well, I guess we got to leave now.
Right. Exactly. So long.
Okay, ready for the next state?
Yeah. What do we got?
Now, this is a hard one. It's probably the hardest one on this list.
Okay.
Because you have to ignore so much stuff. Because this state is extremely famous for everything paranormal.
Oh, okay. I know where you know what it is. It's West Virginia.
It is West Virginia. So it's extremely famous for everything paranormal. So for this one, I wanted to find places that people like legend trip.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find really
unique
and smaller known things, lesser known things.
Not something everyone's always talking about, going on.
So if you want to find something from West Virginia like that,
yeah,
it's like page 27 on Google.
Gotcha.
Because the first 5 pages are Mothman, and then everybody else.
Flatwoods Monster.
I mean, all of it.
What else is there? There's tons of stuff.
And was it Grafton? Was Grafton Pennsylvania or West Virginia?
Ooh,
I think it was West Virginia.
Probably everything's in West Virginia.
I mean, there's tons. I mean, Highness.
Exactly.
What's the capital? West Virginia.
Charleston?
Yep.
Okay, that's where I screwed up.
And then, yeah.
I was one off.
I mean, on this list, you were one off.
I said it early.
Yeah. And then what do you think of for West Virginia? What paranormal thing?
Well, Mothman, obviously.
I mean, that's a hard one not to
Yeah.
just immediately say.
Flatwoods.
Braxy's a great one.
That's about it.
Men in Black is always one for me.
Okay, yeah. That's a good one.
I mean, Men in Black aren't associated with any state in particular, but the Men in Black culture in North America really started in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah. With Mary.
I can't think of her last name.
But it's Mary, I think.
Yeah. With Athens, the Athens Times.
Yeah. They came in to talk to her.
Yeah. And all the other researchers. It just tons of just Men in Black sightings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so what do you think we got for this one? If you had to guess.
I'm guessing we were out of ghost stories for a minute.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, dang it. Is it a ghost story?
Kinda.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Dingus Tunnel. The Dingus Tunnel?
The Dingus?
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
Dingess.
G-E. I would probably say Dingus.
Dingus.
That'd be my guess.
The one guy I listened to a YouTube video on it pronounced it like the crab, like not Dungeness, but like Dungus.
Dungus. That's probably it.
But it's an I, not a U.
Oh, so Dingus. Dingus.
I'm not saying he pronounced it right. When I heard it pronounced, that's how it was.
It's a weird one.
But the haunted history of the West Virginia's Dingus Tunnel. I'm just going Dingus Tunnel. Everybody know how to spell it. So the people of Mingo County, West Virginia, have lived in relative quiet and peace in times for generations. They enjoy their existence with a robust. Oh, this article is by George Cafton. But unforgettable appellations. By the time we're about to change, as the Industrial Revolution came to the mountains, literally they destroy. The people don't get why Appalachia today is generally a poorer part of the country
Because we strip mined it.
Well,
and then just hiked up and
outside
left.
forces
Yeah.
used people that lived there to mine these things
And then left.
and then left them
Yes.
without telling them. Like I showed you, I don't know if I showed you the coal museum from Nelsonville.
I don't think you did.
So I lived by it, and it's just a tiny little building, like the size of the room we're in.
Mhm.
And there's all these coal towns that are just abandoned, that are in poverty levels because they closed the coal mines overnight
Yep.
and didn't tell anybody. And they were just paying them enough, and there was that company store BS where they were paying them in company store credits.
Oh,
So they weren't even paying them in real money.
Yeah.
The actually right up down the road from here is where the riots against that kind of stuff started.
That's insane.
The Onions. And they took him out. The guy that was doing it took him out. I can't remember if they killed him or not. I know they beat him. They beat him really bad.
They killed him. They killed him.
Well, okay. So, but the times are about to change with the Industrial Revolution. The later half of the 19th century, coal fueled the fires of industry. You could find coal in abundance in the southern West Virginia mountains. Norfolk and Western railroads saw substantial business opportunities to serve this need. So they began developing a railroad line into Appalachia. That's where our tale begins. The tunnel is born.
Ooh.
It is a railway tunnel, by the way. In 1892, Norfolk and Western Railroad, needed a railway between Laurie and Wayne, West Virginia. The railroad required to be built through a tunnel through a mountain. They constructed the Dingus Tunnel. The construction was so impressive, such an impressive feat that the engineering at the time, the project was over 4/5 a mile long upon completion. Almost a mile long tunnel.
Through a mountain.
Through the mountain in these times. It's almost unheard of. But they wanted that coal so bad.
Need it. We need the coal.
Yeah.
We need it. Dig it up. Tear up the land.
So the
Unearth
railroad
it.
brought in Chinese and African American immigrants to construct the tunnel. Anybody know that American government used the Chinese to build the railroads like crazy?
Oh, you mean like slaves?
Yeah, that's the word.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The build the transatlantic railroad system.
And apparently it's tunnel in Appalachia.
Yeah, and this too.
All right,
yeah.
Chinese people, go in there and dig that tunnel.
Right, yeah. And
Half of you are going to die.
Yep, and we won't displace you later.
African Americans as well.
Oops, we did.
The workers, along with improvised families of all backgrounds, flocked to the 12-Pole Creek line for an opportunity for the construction provided. The town of 12-Pole became a busy place at the time, with goods transported from the areas by the rail and dispensed over the cities by wagon load. Prosperity had come to the region thanks to the tunnel, but it was destined to be short-lived. A clash with the locals. Unfortunately, the locals in the area did not take kindly to the influx of foreign people. The lack of tolerance resulted in a history of abuse and murder. Writer Hugh Perry told of a horrific ambush taking place in the area in 1972. In his memoirs, sorry. They'll cut off your project. According to these stories, roving bands of angry locals would wait to enter and exit the tunnel with guns. They'd pick off anyone that fit their target descriptions, depending on the group was different.
Mm-hmm.
Someone just wanted to shoot the black people. Some of them just wanted to shoot Chinese. Some of them didn't care.
Someone just wanted to shoot people.
Mm-hmm. While there were no official records, there was an estimate of hundreds of victims killed in these ambushes. Sometimes the tale of the tunnel turns even darker. Or it turns even darker. Hundreds of people were shot because of their race in this tunnel.
And then it turns darker?
And then it turns darker.
Okay, that's how this goes.
So remember how we talked about how to make a haunted place?
Kill a bunch of people?
Just kill a bunch of people horribly?
Yeah.
It gets, yeah. Oh gosh, so it turned even darker. The stories of masked men would stop the trains, take all the passengers out in the middle of the night, and murder them in the tunnel.
Jeez.
It was an act of genocide against anybody that did not fit the profile of the local inhabitants. The only people that were spared is they could prove they were locally born or lived there.
Goodness
And still,
gracious.
sometimes those people were killed.
So for what reason? Just because they didn't want outsiders?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The crimes against the outsiders continued throughout the first half of the 20th century, leaving behind the bloody history of innocent victims. Then it gets even darker.
Great, here we go.
Our tunnel was experienced a share of working tragedies as well. Not only with hundreds of people shot for being whatever, and pulled out of the trains at midnight and asked who they were, then shot in the head in front of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It got even darker. The tunnel itself
Was collapsing.
like Lucifer.
Yeah. Falling in on the workers.
In 1898, a fatal train wreck in the tunnel killed 7 people. 7 years later, in 1905, bad luck struck again. A head-on collision between a fully loaded freight train and a work train echoed through the middle of the tunnel.
Oh. What were they doing?
Keep in mind, there's no electronic rail systems now. So it's all like books and telegraphs and everything to manage it. Now there's like, if you put a little fake train on, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Because of stuff like this.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember stories people walking up and down the tracks and they're triggering the
Yeah, you will.
the gates to drop, and you're not. I forget how far away it is, but
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be like a mile or two.
yeah, at least
If a train's moving, you know.
Yeah.
No, so fully loaded freight train and a work train collided, echoing in the tunnel. The event ripped through the community, leaving people dead in its wake.
Jeez.
The tunnel claimed even more victims. So The trains go away, leaving only despair and an empty tunnel. The Dingus Tunnel had its heyday between 1892 and 1904, and around this time, the railroad was exploding away to avoid steep terrain of the hills as it expanded. A better route, though, was found following the general grade of Big Sandy River, so the railroad investors heavily into the new line. Many argued that the inputs of switching away from 12 poles and Dingus Tunnel line because of the bloody actions of the inhabitants. Others claim it was merely a better business decision, which is probably more closely accurate. No businessman, no big corporate CEO has ever made a decision because it affected people.
Never.
Bottom line dollar.
I mean, affected people positively.
Or negatively. They don't care.
I guess, yeah.
They do not care.
They just care about that, yeah.
Like
Keep it in the green.
With the water.
Keep it in the green.
Whether the real reason, Norfolk and Western Railroad changed their route, and in 1913 rolled around, the tunnel was no longer in use as an active railroad line. The industry left behind hundreds of unemployed families and pollution. Hard times had come on the 12-pole area, now more severe than ever before. So it's like everywhere else in Appalachia.
Right.
That these big corporations pulled out the rug underneath these people.
And leave them all behind.
You'll
figure it out.
So the tunnel conversion to road traffic. Since the time only local traffic used the tunnel, by 1960s it was officially converted into a vehicle use by paved over remnants of the railroad. While the tunnel was an impressive feat for the 1890s, it was made only as wide as needed for railway traffic. The width works fine for trains, but has not supported 2-lane cars. For this reason, the 3,300 foot long tunnel could only support traffic going in one direction. The improvised residents of the area failed to get the funds badly needed to improve their tunnel, so it had remained true to its original construction since its construction. To this day, the tunnel's tail has stayed a single lane throughway, though remnants of its major roadway are for another area. So yeah.
So it's a one-way tunnel, basically.
It's a one-way tunnel. The people still drive through it. 12-pole area.
What do they do with the other way?
You got to go up and around the mountain.
Oh,
it sucks.
They didn't build another tunnel?
No,
they should have.
So the haunting side of it.
Okay, yeah. I wonder why.
I mean, what kind of haunting do you want me to tell you about? It's all haunted.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably the
hundreds of people were murdered in this tunnel.
The traumatic.
Several train wrecks.
Gosh.
People were hung off at like gallows every once in a while.
A lot of trauma in that hole.
So, I mean, screams, gunshots are heard in the tunnel when you're driving through. People screaming. People think they hit people. Ghost appearing in the middle of the tunnel.
I don't want to go to this one.
No, I mean, this one.
It's like the Moonville Tunnel on steroids.
Yeah. And it looks kind of similar.
Oh, wow. Great. Because we went to the Moonville Tunnel like 2 years ago now in Ohio. And it was weird. I mean, it wasn't like scary or nothing, but it was the only thing that was odd. It was just so quiet. It was so quiet.
Eerily. I've gone a couple times. I never like going.
Yeah, it's just weird. It was just odd.
Like hundreds of people had murdered there.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's just weird.
I don't want to go to this tunnel. It just doesn't seem, I don't want to drive through it.
Yeah. So the people that weren't murdered in the tunnel, some of them starved to death too, right after, especially kids.
Oh, gosh.
So this is just not like, and this happened all over Appalachia.
Starved from just being in there or what?
No, like behind the tunnel, 12 pole. When the railroad pulled out, they couldn't get supplies in. You couldn't farm the area.
Gotcha. So they were just stuck
People
there.
just starved.
Yeah, that's so sad.
So yeah, Dingus Tunnel.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
But yeah,
not good, South Carolina.
It's haunted. It's a famous ghost goer location. It's extremely dangerous. Don't go in it because it's the traffic. It's still an active tunnel. I think it's still active. But there's pictures of like ghost hunters going in it and stuff like that. I wouldn't go in a 1-lane tunnel with cars coming.
No.
You're just going to add to the legend.
Yeah, how are you going to get out of the way?
Ran over.
Yeah, you got a rope attached to the ceiling you can climb up? Like real fast. Train.
Yeah, so what do you think of this one? You like it?
Yeah, this one's interesting. I think of the tunnels in West Virginia, like driving through those. When we're traveling, whatever, east or southeast, we always go through those tunnels in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me think of that, I guess.
It's really the only tunnels I've ever been in. And now they're huge, right? Like they said, that was in the 1800s.
Right.
So for its time, an almost mile-long tunnel was unheard of.
It's pretty impressive. I mean, well, didn't they do that, though, for the Transatlantic Railroad, whatever? They just, like the Rocky Mountains, they plowed right through it?
Most of the time, but they didn't really, I don't know if they made many tunnels. I know a lot of it is they blasted edges to make ledges.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on the outside. Stop yawning.
I can't help it. I think the coffee wore off.
Do you need more? There's,
Like
there's a whole pot out there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's overload. It's overload.
Was this part 6?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of these spooky tunnels, and there's a ton of graffiti, which always I hate with Moonville too. Gets so
It's graffiti.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people died in these tunnel. Hundreds of people were shot in this tunnel.
Right. Yeah. What is that with the need to spray paint
Now,
on things?
I'm not saying anything against graffiti art.
Right.
I think it's an amazing art form. And I think if you do it in the proper places,
for sure.
it's just more about damaging somebody else's building.
Right.
And there's other reasons. There's other socioeconomic, political reasons that we probably don't get, like living in Chicago and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's a culture thing, you think?
Some of it, sure.
Yeah. I just never quite understood it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We probably won't get it.
Yeah.
It's because it's just not something we grew up with.
Like, a clean building wall. Let's deface it with my signature name.
Or is it more about getting rid of the sterilization of culture for the positive side of graffiti?
Now that I'm more into it when it's nice.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen plenty of graffiti that's gorgeous.
But and I've seen more than plenty that's just
Heinous.
ugly, and it's just
So I'm saying it
devaluing.
may be a much more complicated.
Yeah. But it's such as everything, I guess. Everything has its every sword cuts both ways.
There you go. There you go. All right. Next one.
Next state. What do we got?
Now, this one, I would never guess the capital in a million years.
Is this Vermont?
This state, I've heard of, at least the rest of the list we've done so far, I've heard of the capitals.
Okay.
This state, I have never heard of the capital.
Okay, where are we at? In Kansas?
Maryland. Maryland.
Oh, gosh. Maryland. Oh, no. Nothing's popping in my head. Maryland. How about you just start doing this episode? Let me start with the legend. No, wait, we need to figure out what. Gosh dang it, Maryland. I know Maryland has Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, don't look at the map behind me. I was making sure you couldn't see it.
Oh, there's the
Star Cruiser's map of Maryland cryptids.
Yeah, I can't see it.
There is a famous one for this.
Oh, I don't know the capital. I really don't.
Annapolis?
Annapolis, Maryland.
Annapolis?
Dang it, I knew it. Annapolis.
I've never heard of this city.
Annapolis, Maryland. That's a good one.
I've heard of other cities in Maryland.
Yeah.
I mean, Maryland's not one of the big states, right? You know, it's
No.
a high population, a gorgeous state from the pictures I've seen.
It's got the bay.
I mean, everything Chesapeake Bay to the forest, everything like
Yeah.
that. Like, it's a pretty state.
Baltimore is there.
Baltimore, Maryland?
Yeah.
I guess it is. Yeah. If I had to guess what the capital was, I would have probably said Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
Because it's the only big city I could name in Maryland.
Yeah, me too. Annapolis. Dang it. I knew that.
The ship museums in the Baltimore are really cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
The what museum?
Ships.
Oh, okay.
Like naval ships.
Gotcha. Nice.
Maybe you had your headphones on, you could hear me.
No, I heard you. I just thought it was funny. If they had a museum of that.
What creature or UFO, whatever.
Ooh, Maryland.
There's a big one.
Yeah, wasn't there the Bigfoot UFO? No, that's Chestnut Ridge.
Yeah, that's Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we already did that.
And you got that one wrong.
I did.
This is your fourth one you've gotten wrong.
What do you mean gotten wrong?
Capital.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like...
No, not the cryptid thing. No, your fourth capital.
I don't know what cryptid Maryland. I don't know. I just imagine like... Maryland's like... It's just like bigger... Or Northern Virginia to me. It's just... I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't
You're
know.
going to feel really dumb when I say the one that comes to mind for me.
Say it.
The Snallygaster.
Ooh, I guess so, yeah.
Most of the Snallygaster things were in Maryland.
Yep, all right. Yep, that's probably the right answer. Yep. Snallygaster eggs.
Like one of our favorite things we've ever done was around the Snallygaster.
I guess in my head, I always just associated the Snallygaster East Coast. Just East Coast.
Yeah, there was a lot of East Coast. I'm going to say the majority of Snallygaster stuff was in Maryland.
Yep. You're definitely right.
Probably 80% of the Snallygaster, everything from the encounters, the mountains, the dead bodies, were all in
the
Maryland.
eggs.
The eggs were in Maryland. I know a couple of the other states would get like, I guess what you would call flyover.
Right. Where did that Snallygaster, where that moonshine still? Was that in West Virginia?
No, that was probably Maryland.
It sounds like West Virginia.
It sounds like West Virginia. Or West Virginia sounds like everything. So, articles by Beth Copenhagen. This one's about a plantation
Ooh, okay.
in Maryland, the haunted plantation.
Okay.
Sorry, I did these all out of order. So I tried to pick a variety of things, but I guess I fell on the ghost train a little too hard. But a lot of legends are ghosts. But I seen this plantation, and it's a historic landmark. I just never, when you hear plantation, what do you think of? The South.
Yeah,
At least I think of
pretty much.
Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas.
Guy sitting on the porch, sipping on an iced tea, watching over his plantation, quote unquote, workers.
Slaves?
Yeah, slaves. Again, back of the slaves. Yep. Plantation.
Yeah. That's what you think of with plantation. I think of a cotton plantation.
Yeah, pretty much. That was
Arkansas. I've never seen a field of cotton until the first time I went to Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What's crazy about it?
It's really pretty, I guess.
It sounds like it
The
would be.
cotton plants are really pretty.
Yeah.
But there wasn't thousands of slaves working to death in them.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
So I guess if you have a different history of it, it may not be as pretty to look at.
I guess it just depends what time of season you visit.
So the Maryland ghost story that'll leave you absolutely baffled. The plantation in Maryland has a historical landmark known for its haunted house and its ghostly apparitions. But yeah. So one such tale from Maryland is a legend of Sorterley. I think it's how you say it.
Okay.
Suterley Plantation. Gorgeous historical landmark by day. The mansion is in Mary County. It is also a house full of unsettled spirits. So that's one of those places that just has all kinds
spooky
of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you ever heard on especially the ghost stories, the ghost shows? Well, there's a ghost named Ted. He's friendly. And there's a ghost named Alvin. He'll eat your spirit.
Right. Yeah.
Like what?
Right. Exactly.
They
Well,
which together?
one?
But yeah, so that's what this one always makes me think of. Chances are you visited the plantation on a field trip if you're a Maryland native. But today we're going to talk much more about the historic haunted side of it. The history of the plantation dates back to 1699 in an area of land that was purchased by the Pantarax River by James Bolus. The first installment of the mansion was completed in 1703. It was designated a landmark of one of the oldest standing plantations in all of the U.S. And it's pretty to look at. If you look at pictures of it from the outside, it does not look that old.
Okay.
But 1703, the first piece of the mansion was built in 1703. Okay. That's
what,
300 and something years.
322 years now.
Yeah. When Bowles passed away, he left the plantation to his wife Rachel, who eventually remarried a fellow by the name of George Planter II. It was their son, George Planter III, who designed the rest of the estate with the plantation. The name which honored the place in England where the Planter family once lived. So that's Suterley is a place in England.
Okay.
When the estate remained relatively stable, even though there were several wars, its upkeep and very foundation were largely due to 165 years of
plantation slavery.
Slavery.
Okay.
Slave labor. That's what kept the plantation running for 165 years.
Gosh.
So when we talked about how to make a really haunted place, if you beat enough slaves to death,
it becomes haunted.
It becomes haunted for some reason.
For some reason, yeah. For some random reason. It's a weird pattern.
It's a weird pattern. You beat enough,
it's not funny, but
it's funny that it happened and that nobody talks about it.
Right, yeah, I guess so.
When slavery was abolished in Maryland in 1864, the plantation fell into economic poverty.
Naturally.
They went from being one of the richest estates to one of the poorest, and they had to let all the black people go. Well, slaves in general. They had other types of slave, majority black.
Yeah.
But you can see the slave quarter. You can look at pictures of slave quarters that have been preserved to this day. Not great. Not great.
Well, 300 years old. What do you expect?
It looks like that prison from New Mexico from the first episode.
Oh, gosh. The hatchet floors marks.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh.
Extremely harsh living conditions and extreme overcrowding were just the tip of the hardship faced by the enslaved people in this property.
That's never a good combo.
I highly suggest anybody Google the slave quarters. They're like big jail cells that would house like 60 slaves. So if you think it's like for 4 people, you're like, oh, it's gross looking and it's not great, but it's a lot of room. And you're like, oh, 60 people slept in here.
Oh my god.
There was no square footage on the floor where there wasn't another human.
It's like a sumo stable.
And there's a copper pot you'd poop in the corner.
Oh gosh.
Visitors today will find a restored mansion is open for guided tours from May 1st to October 31st and self-tours year-round. So if the property's pretty much open year-round. I don't know if you have to pay to get in, but there are guided tours where they have people walk around with you through most of the summer. And they do some special stuff around Halloween. So if anybody's actually interested in visiting this place, and it's something you should visit, it's a big part of history that shouldn't be forgotten. Because this happened. I mean, this is horrible, the conditions that people were kept in. But they do some, I guess, fun stuff for Halloween.
That's good.
Admiring the antique decor and old portraits, you'll feel as if you've traveled back in time. It's really funny because one floor above, the mansion is super, super nice and clean. And then below is this dungeon they kept the slaves in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it's important. That happened. That's how it was.
Well, at least they kept them in the mansion.
Yeah, sure.
You got to count your blessings, I guess, somewhere.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Today, the property is a National Historic Landmark and a public charity organization. The board of trustees includes both a former enslaved, how do you say that?
Indentured servant?
No, like their great-great-grandparents were the slaves from the actual property.
Oh, okay.
Not ancestors, the other way. Descendants.
Descendants. Okay, there you go.
So there's actually a lot of the slave descendants are on the board of trustees for this place now.
Oh, wow.
And former residents of the area. So it's really unique to kind of see, because it's a snapshot of history.
Yeah. What was the plantation owner's name is again? The house?
The Bowles was the original builder.
I bet they weren't.
And then the Platts or the planters.
Okay. I bet
planters.
And we're expecting that turnaround, 200, 300 years later.
They all basically, they went to poverty the second the slaves had to be released.
Right, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Didn't see that plot twist coming.
But yeah, so let's talk about the ghosts that are said to haunt this historic landmark.
Right.
Visitors, stories from the decades past all suggest invisible spirits haunt the mansion to this day. Tour guides even recount times they have ventured into the second story only to be pushed down the stairs by an unforeseen force during a candlelight tour in December. So this guy said he was walking up the stairs with a tour group and it felt like something punched him in the chest.
Wow.
And he went flying back down the stairs.
That's crazy.
Ghosts and stairs. Ask my mom. It's not great.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, the estate has drawn paranormal investigators from around the world. Their findings indicate that it's not just a mansion that could be haunted, but also the former slave dwellings as well. EVP recordings pick up drumming sounds coming from the cabins, followed by soft, very distinct voices saying, "Get out."
Yeah, wonderful.
Another unexplained phenomena is actually quite pleasant, but equally baffling. Some employees of the mansion often report smelling a scent of coffee and bacon emanating from the kitchen when nobody's been cooking. It's a kitchen. It's technically, I guess, a functional kitchen, but it's a display kitchen for the time.
Right, yeah.
So nobody's in there cooking, but
people smell the food.
Tour guides especially will say that you go in there and it's like their first tour of the day. They'll smell like somebody just fried bacon and made a fresh pot of coffee.
I don't know what that is.
And that could be that residual thing we're talking about.
Right.
Where it happens so much. For 165 years it happened.
But how are you able to pick it up like that smell? How are you able, you know what I mean? So it's almost like that smell is placed there.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're not smelling anything that's physically happened, like bacon in the air, coffee in the air. You know what I mean? It's paranormal. It's just weird that you can actually smell it. So what is that? Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
So one thing's for certain, a haunting and a complicated past has resulted in ghostly apparitions that appear in many different forms around the famous mansion. You may have to go see it for yourself, says the article writer, if you dare. And I'll tell you how to visit this, because this one, like you say, you can go tour. This is the one that they run all kinds of stuff. But everything from, like, a lot of slaves are seen, obviously. A lot of slave apparitions are seen. Some of the original inhabitants, either house slaves or other servants are seen. I don't know if any of the actual owners are seen in the property.
Okay.
I guess the only way to really tell would be well-dressed ghosts at the time.
I guess so. They look like Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. So it was 1700s, way before that era.
But then that's what they all look like, right?
I don't know.
The white.
I wasn't there.
The white suit jacket, whatever, with the white pants and
wasn't
the
there.
Bolo tie.
But yeah, so this plantation is located on 44300 Sortley Lane, Hollywood, Maryland. You can go to they have a website, an official website. If you're going to go to the website, do all that stuff. I think you make sure that you're going to have a tour guide and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a whole board where you can share your paranormal experiences. This is a place that has hundreds a year of paranormal experiences.
Okay.
I have no idea how much. This is one of the places a few ghost hunting companies have rented.
Really?
Yeah.
I would like to go see it. I mean,
it's a historic piece of American history.
Yeah. I wonder if we don't think it's actual people. Like we don't think it's the slaves' souls trapped there haunting, but
yeah.
I wonder if the ritual, like the sacrificing, let's just call it that. They're killing these people, torturing them,
beat
trauma.
slaves to death, and
It's basically like a sacrifice. I wonder if just that extreme trauma over and over is enough energy that can sustain, like a demon being manifested here. And maybe that's why like the ancient Aztecs and Incas, or whichever one was through like the 10,000 people in the hole, the Tishabalba. I wonder if it's just killing all these people. Feed something so it can manifest here.
I'm sure. I mean, it could be that residual haunting stuff that the earth is scarred from the torment from one man caused to another.
Maybe because man's mind created earth, or everything around us. Not earth in itself, but man's
reality.
Man's mind shapes reality. So when you destroy man's mind or torment and abuse, destroy, kill, sacrifice man's mind, it allows it to take it to dark places and manifest dark things from the dark canyons of man's mind. It's all us.
All right. Before we continue on with our states, let's take an ad break.
Good. I need some dust. Welcome back to Cooking with J Clone 77. And we're back again on a new episode with my guest chef, the Defiance Dogman.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, okay. Defiance Dogman. Today, you're preparing a special dish. What do you got for us today?
Lamb chops.
Some roasted lamb chops. Oh, now, you said today you brought a secret ingredient. What was that you brought with us today? Oh, spicy Bigfoot breath. Raw garlic dust from Flavors of the Forest?
Yeah, best thing.
Let me sprinkle a little bit on my lamb chop here that you prepared. Oh, my goodness. This flavor profile went from a 10 to an 11.
I'll tell you what, that means you go...
Couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. Dogman. And you can find this. You can get your own bottles of Flavors of the Forest raw spicy garlic dust, raw garlic dust, spicy garlic dust, Bigfoot breath. It's all delicious and packed full of garlic delicious flavor that you can't get anywhere else. You can get it at flavorsforest.com/corn.
And we're back. Next state.
Next state. What is it?
It's probably the most unique state in the entire U.S.
Michigan.
No.
We already did Michigan.
Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii. Okay. That's pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, it's 90% of volcanoes, so.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, we have states with volcanoes, but.
Well, I mean.
Not 90% volcano.
Wyoming's close.
Wyoming does have a volcano, right?
How big is the Yellowstone?
I mean, big, but it's not like 80% of the state.
Under it might be. Oh, no, those are valuable minerals. I forgot.
Deep earth elements.
And dead
What's
humans.
the capital of Hawaii?
Honolulu.
It is Honolulu. Really fun word.
It is. Honolulu. Hawaii's just fun.
Now, this one is...
Never been.
A weird one. We're going to talk about... This is a curse. Pale's curse. Paley's curse? Pele?
How do you spell it?
P-E-L-E.
Well, there's that soccer player, Pele. It's spelled like that.
Is he...
He's not Hawaiian.
Okay.
I'm almost certain he's not Hawaiian.
This was not a Hawaiian person. I heard talk about it on YouTube.
Okay.
But they said it like Pale's curse.
Maybe it is.
I'm not saying that's correct, everybody. Yeah. I'm just saying that the one pronunciation I heard was that.
Pales.
Yeah, but it's
P-E-L-E.
Hawaiian, Native Hawaiians.
Yeah, I don't know.
So let's talk about this. So there's an interesting thing with Pale's curse. There's not an individual place, but this is obviously a high-end tourist destination. And the natives there are getting treated extremely badly.
You mean like in Lahaina?
Yeah. You should check out DW Conspiracy Shack and learn more about that.
Yeah.
But Pele's curse is on the Hawaiian island. It is a very interesting thing. So nobody should take these, especially non-native Hawaiians, which is everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
So you can go to the lava flats when you're visiting Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk up to certain, what do they deem as safe areas, I guess.
Right, yeah.
And see active lava flows.
Which would be so amazing to see one day.
And something that happens is there's lots of lava rocks. Now, this is the formation, the new lifeblood of the island.
Right.
So the only thing that sustains these islands, as far as nutrients go, islands are generally, our rocky outcrop islands are really poor nutrients, except the upwell of nutrients from volcanoes. Volcanic soil produced by volcanic rock
Okay.
is extremely high productivity.
Okay.
That's how you can have these weird, like, jungle islands. Have you seen, like, the non-touristy parts of, like, Hawaii on videos and stuff like that?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
It is a place, and you can see why the people have such a deep spiritual background. It is a place that you could connect with anything. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous place.
The spirit of aloha.
Spirit of aloha. So, so legend is that Pele, the goddess of the fire volcano, erects a curse on anyone who steals items off the island. Specifically, she considers the rocks from the volcanoes and the sands are her children and will do anything to protect them. So rocks and sand specifically.
Yeah.
Or, you don't take them, you don't touch them. The Native Hawaiians firmly believe it just, you can move rocks around and stuff like that, but it stays in the rough area it's from.
It does not leave the island.
Yeah. The curse is only lifted when the islands are returned. If you've not been to Hawaii, you probably don't know anything about Pele's curse. But if you're planning to take a souvenir home from Hawaii, you may benefit from getting acquainted with the tale. The last thing you need is to go back to Hawaii to return a rock.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you, it happens.
Yeah, I believe it.
Hundreds of times a year. And I'll talk about the Postal Service in a minute. So the Hawaii Volcano National Park receives thousands, if not tens of thousands letters a year from tourists apologizing to the island that they want their letters read out loud to the island for taking the lava rocks from the island with the rocks returned. The letters are said in most cases acquainted by the rock they wish to return. And if there is not a rock, they say whatever happened, I lost the rock. Please forgive me, Bob. I didn't mean anything by it. Don't lose the rock if you steal a rock.
Right, yeah.
Because of streaks of extreme bad luck, there's actually a place in this office where they hang the best letters up, what they deem the best letters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Like, I've been in 18 car wrecks.
Right,
since I've stole the rock. Here's the rock. Take the rock. Take the rock back.
You ever taken a rock from anywhere?
Not on purpose. And see, I don't think it counts if, like, you get one stuck in your shoe.
Yeah.
Because that's an accident. You're not consciously doing it.
Yeah. I've taken one on purpose.
No, I have, I guess. But, like, from truck stops.
Yeah,
I see a fossil.
Oh, yeah. No, I just found cool rocks once. I'm like, I'm taking this home.
No, pretty much my whole rock collection came from the field beside our house.
Yeah, that's how mine started.
So it only moved 100 yards.
Yeah. I brought some home from other states and stuff. I probably shouldn't have, but.
So the letters, in most cases, accompanied by the rocks, like they said. But if you're a skeptic, you make all the jokes. Perhaps if some people believe in making up stories to scare people into leaving behind freebies. But individuals who have received the end of Pele's curse would beg to differ. So who's Pele and why should you be afraid of her? Pele is the goddess of fire and volcanoes. Legend has it she resides in the center of Kamalui. Is that how you say it? On the Hawaiian island, which is the modern-day Hawaiian Volcano National Park. It's the active volcano that's leaking.
Right.
She lives in it. However you say it.
What'd you say? Kamamui?
Kaliui? I don't even know. I don't know what I'm saying.
I have to look. I have to see it.
It's believed that her wrath causes the volcanic eruptions and the lava flows. Since white man got there, her flow has not stopped. She's not happy. Her visible powers has resulted in respect and worship among Hawaiian citizens. To date, residents leave gifts and fruit as a sign of respect and tribute to the goddess. Besides, they believe the act brings them good luck. Paley is believed to be the island's matriarch. It is thought that her protection of nature is a curse is born. That the curse is born. The goddess is believed to be incredibly protective of her land and her children. Legend has like Paley considers the lava rocks and the sand as her children.
Right.
Therefore, if anyone steals one of her children, they should expect the full wrath of Paley.
She's on him like white on rice.
Mm-hmm. And her anger, like the fury of a woman scorned, isn't child's play. We're not talking about breaking a fingernail, losing your favorite pair of socks. People have reported everything from, like I wasn't joking, but I made the talk about the 16 car wrecks in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That was an actual letter.
That really happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
That the person doesn't leave their house anymore.
Yeah.
Because every time they leave, they get in a car wreck.
Okay.
Cancer was a big one.
Oh, that's horrible.
Paley is not, whatever. Don't take the rocks. Whether you believe it or not, you know what's easy not to do? Take a rock.
Yeah.
You just don't bend down and pick one up and put it in your pocket.
Yeah, don't do that in Hawaii.
You don't.
That's our PSA.
There's other places that have the similar legends too. Everything from losing loved ones, relationships ending, constant car wrecks, financials, pets dying. One guy had all 3 of his dogs dead when he returned home.
That's scary.
But he was also, if I remember that letter right, he was mocking the island when he was there too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
like, oh, she's gonna get me, huh? Came home, all 3 of his dogs were dead. Gosh. Like, all right, you know what? Have the rock back.
Now wait a minute. I came back from. No, that was Las Vegas.
Well, there's other places. One out west. There's a city out west where if you take anything from it, that the same kind of stuff happens. Rocks are a big one. But one guy stole a piano and his wife got cancer.
Gosh. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think I took anything, but when I came home, my dog had passed away on our way home. Just randomly. It was weird. I think he overheated, but I don't know.
Oh, you were driving with the dog?
No.
Oh.
He was at home. We had a dog sitter. And literally, as we were about to get on the airplane back home, he called us. Just said he came up to the house, laid down in the mulch, and he died. It was weird.
How to get rid of Paley's curse.
Yes.
And like we said, like the little PSA at the beginning of these episodes, we don't think you should go to any of these places. We don't think you should go legend tripping. But if you do, be respectful of local laws. Be respectful of everything, private and public property. Don't destroy, take nothing, and leave nothing. How to get rid of Paley's curse. Paley's curse can last for days, months, even years. I believe the longest letter I seen when I was going through some of these was 19 years.
Wow.
And the guy finally found the rock.
Finally returned it.
Can you imagine tearing your house apart for 19 years, looking for a rock the size of a quarter?
No. I would have just burnt. I don't know what I would have done.
Oh, I mean,
I had to move back to Hawaii.
just live in the volcano.
Yeah, I'll just jump in the volcano and be done with it.
It's believed the only way to get rid yourself of the curse is to return the stolen item to the island. And sand, they get a lot of vials of sand. That's the dumb, like, don't steal sand.
It's like returning the ring back to Mount, what is it?
I don't know. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings person.
Mount Doom. I mean, I don't know if that's right.
This explains why numerous tourists write letters to the national park begging them to rangers to return the rocks. Have you seen the video? You should look at the videos of this. Every day, the rangers take like 16 5-gallon buckets. If it's sand, they take it down to the beach. And if it's rocks from these letters, they walk them back up the mountain and dump them back on the mountain.
Wow. That's no, I've not seen that.
And then people go steal rocks. They're like, look at these pile of rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
So they beg. Most people report their streaks of bad luck ending right after the island or the item gets back to the island. However, Hawaiian postmasters report they received all kinds of stuff in the mail. The majority of people returning Paley's hair in tears, long strands of hardened lava from the rocks. So it's like this weird. It looks like hair. It's the people will steal that and return that. Some people send items back that are not from Hawaii. If you're not typically superstitious, you may question the validity to Paley's curse. So is it myth or real wrath of an angered goddess? The majority of this original Paley's curse are scarce. Scholars attempt to fact-check the legend of little to do with Hawaiian religion. However, there are certain speculations that the myth came from.
Were those scientists peer-reviewed?
Yeah, sure. So some people think that the forest rangers just made this up so people would stop stealing stuff.
Okay.
I don't think so. But there apparently is some evidence to support that.
I'm sure maybe in certain instances or cases, embellished it maybe a bit.
Another one is that it was made up by a tired bus driver. Traveling by bus is probably much the only way you can move around the island for tourists. Hawaii has as far as a tourist goes, a pretty robust busing. You know, you can traverse your island by bus.
Public transit.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been the case for numerous years. Some people believe that a bus driver may have come up with Paley's curse. They believe that the driver got tired of cleaning up thousands of rocks and stones that were left on their bus.
Well,
So
that makes sense. Whoa. That means people aren't... I don't believe this one, but go on. That means people weren't taking them home. They were still on the island. They were just on his bus.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't stealing them to steal them. There was just rocks got caught in their shoes.
I think it's Native Hawaiian, personally. I'm not a Native Hawaiian expert. I think the legend is real. As far as that it came from Native Hawaiian folklore.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking the bus driver thing may not be that may be a made up story.
Yeah.
Because that don't make much sense.
But yeah, don't take it.
Yeah, just don't. If you go to Hawaii, leave everything. Enjoy Hawaii for how it is. Don't bring Hawaii home. It's there for a reason. That's it.
But yeah, this is one YouTube videos always fascinate me. Because there are sometimes these park rangers have like 5 or 6 trips of buckets of these rocks. And they, as far as I know, they return most of them. I mean, they're on the island, so they're there.
I wonder, I do wonder though too if that's just even for show to show people yeah, you better not take this. Look at all these returns for people getting cursed. See this, people? Look.
So you believe the legend or you don't believe the legend?
Almost kind of not now with buckets of rocks. Maybe I don't know.
How else are they going to deal with them?
What do you mean?
Every day or every year they're getting tens of thousands of letters with rocks.
Okay. Well, what if that's not true?
I've seen tons of videos from like the 50s to modern day about this.
Okay. Then maybe there is something to it.
If they're trying to perpetrate this, they're doing a really good job.
Dang.
Because that's a lot of letters they're writing, putting in envelopes of the rock to set up for a video.
I guess. I don't know. Everything's an illusion now. I don't know what to believe anymore.
No, I think that whether the curse is real or not, I have no idea.
Right.
But if you hear the curse and then bad things happen when you get home, you're going to attribute it to this.
Well, yeah, because
mail the rock back. Mail the rock back.
Right, yeah.
That's all it takes. Imagine if your letter got lost in postage.
Oh, man, I'd be suing UPS.
No, you don't understand. Yeah. You gotta find that rock.
Please. My house caught on fire 3 times this month.
I also seen where people return non-stolen items.
Yeah.
As an offering.
Okay.
Like maybe they lost the rock or something like that. Like, I'm sorry I lost. Here's something from me to get back to you. My apologies kind of deal.
That's fair.
Depends on, I guess, what the goddess thinks. If it's one of her kids, you think you just replace her kid with a random tchotchke?
Depends on the kid.
About spit Dr. Pepper all over.
That'd been bad. The roadcaster would have been done. Yeah, you know how it is. I
never asked you.
I don't have any kids.
What cryptid or
Mini
paranormal
Huni.
thing? That's what
That's the only thing in Hawaii I think of.
That's on the season 7 roster. Mini Huni.
Ooh. Or the giant laser inside of the volcano in Hawaii that's moving the Earth's pole.
I think of the fish ponds too.
Huh?
The mythical fish ponds of Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
They were built in one night or 3 nights or something like that.
Wasn't it by the Mini Huni?
That or a different Little People tribe.
Yeah, it was something like that. I remember.
I can't remember. It was the actual Mini Huni or a different tribe.
Yeah, I remember talking about it vaguely at some point with you.
Yeah. It's a cool story. And they're still there. You can still go look at the fish ponds.
That's neat.
They're incredibly well built.
Yeah,
and it's interesting that I don't know if all Native Hawaiians say they didn't build them, but I know a lot of the historic Native Hawaiians say no, we didn't build that.
Right,
we use them. They were built for us.
Yep, they were there, but they were here when we got here.
No, that they were built. No, they were built after they got there.
Oh, okay.
They were built. They didn't build them. They were built for them.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh.
Next state.
What did we got?
Massachusetts.
Ooh, Boston.
Yeah. What do you think of Massachusetts?
Well, I think of all the weird stone walls everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in Mass.
And the Blackwater Triangle. Is Blackwater?
The Bridgewater.
Bridgewater. Yeah. What's Blackwater? What am I thinking of?
That's a...
I think that's from Red Dead Redemption, I think.
Yeah, that's a city in Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. So what was it? Black what? What was
Bridgewater.
it? Bridgewater Triangle. Yeah, I think of that and the stone walls. Because I was there, those little stone walls are cutting through every single woods and people's yards, and they're just weird.
I've even heard some Bigfoot accounts involving those things.
Yeah.
Because there's like, I don't know who built them, but the aqueducts too out in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like random aqueducts.
It's weird.
But we talked about that in our Jersey Devil episode, that there was tons of cities built out there that failed from disease and all kinds of random things.
Yeah.
And instantly the forest ate back up.
The government got after them. Dropped a disease bomb, blankets.
A little bit before that, but...
And they were operating, the people operating long before the government was set up.
Boss, so I think of ghost ships.
Ghost ships?
Like phantom ships.
Okay.
Not like the abandoned ships, but like the phantom ships.
Right.
Like from the Platte River on the other side of the country. Call back to, I think, episode 1.
Of this?
Of this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about Provincetown, Massachusetts. It has an interesting entity that calls it home. I don't know if you'd call him a ghost, but we'll talk about it. The winds howled on the empty streets, carrying the salty tang near the ocean. Most of the towns had shut their doors and windows early, huddling inside of fear of something that stalked their community. For weeks, rumors circulated about a dark figure, something fast, shadowily, and utterly terrifying. The locals call it the Black Flash.
The Black Flash.
Mm-hmm. Before I continue, it's Provincetown, Massachusetts has the Black Flash.
Okay.
What do you think the Black Flash is from that little intro?
I don't know. I just think of the Flash.
I know, it's
in
hard.
a black costume. It's like,
yeah.
It's the Black Flash.
At first, sightings were dismissed as local gossip. Oh, the year was 1939 as well. Sorry.
Okay.
It's dismissed as local gossip. Maybe even a prankster trying to scare local townsfolk. A kid dressing up as a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But as more and more people came forward with their own unsettling experience, it became clear that whatever was lurking in the shadows was no joke. The Black Flash was real, and its appearance was growing more and more frequent.
Okay.
Witnesses described this figure as impossibly tall, cloaked in black from head to toe, with glowing eyes that pierced through the darkness. What made it more and more terrifying was the speed, blindingly fast. From some of the witness testimonies I read, almost like it was teleporting. It was that quick.
Okay.
Moving in a blur from one spot to another, often vanishing before a person's eyes before they could comprehend they'd even seen anything. Those who came too close were left shaken. They'd encountered something far more sinister than just a human figure. It wasn't just simply the sight of the Black Flash that unnerved people. It was a deep, bone-chilling fear that accompanied it. One of the earliest reports came from a group of children who'd been playing in a park as the sun began to set. They had heard stories, but began to believe them. They had heard the stories, but didn't begin to believe them until the Black Flash appeared. They're coming for kids.
Mm-hmm.
One moment, they were laughing, chasing, playing with each other. The next, an extremely tall, dark figure darted across their path. So fast, it seemed to glide rather than run. The children froze in place, staring in horror as the figure moved with impossible speed, leaping across the park in a single bound before vanishing into the night. They ran home in terror, convinced they had seen a ghost or a demon. So this thing's not see-through whatsoever. It's like, as far as I know, it's not blacker than black like shadow people.
It's not, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seemed like it is dressed, like it has clothes or some kind of clothing on. Like it's just black. It's really dark black.
Okay.
But not that blacker than black like shadow people.
Or like that paint, that new paint color that's like...
Venta black.
Venta black, yeah, that's insane.
99% of light absorption.
Yeah.
Hurts your eyes to look at.
It's weird.
As the night passed, more and more people came or had their own encounters. A man walking home late at night claimed to have been chased through the streets by the Black Flash. He described hearing rapid footsteps behind him, faster than any person could run. As he turned and looked, the figure was right there, closing the distance in the blink of an eye. The man ran so fast, diving into his house, locking the door behind him, too terrified to look out the window. Others told similar stories. The Black Flash would appear suddenly, always moving in an unnatural way with unnatural speed, then disappear just as quickly, leaving nothing but fear in its wake. Everybody that had an encounter with this thing, whether it chased them or not, had the unboding fear, like unshakable fear.
Right.
That dread.
That like shakes you to your core.
Well, like we talk about some Bigfoot encounters and stuff like that, where
like stomach churning fear.
where people, like some people say with the Bigfoot, they had no reason to be that scared, and still it was like every fiber in their being, like, this is a predator.
Yeah,
leave,
run.
Sorry, where was I? What made the black flash particularly terrifying wasn't its appearance or speed, but the feeling that came with it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who encountered it poured the same exact sense of intense dread. Some would be left paralyzed with fear, thinking they had had a heart attack.
Infrasound.
It wasn't just the fear of seeing something strange or unnatural. It was deeper, more primal. It had come face to face with something that should not exist in our world. Local police were adept, or basically flooded with reports. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't catch the figure. It seemed to vanish into air without anybody getting close, leaving no trace behind. Then even organized night patrols, hopping from corner to corner, the black flash was always one step ahead of the police, slipping through their grasp like a shadow. Some police stated they believed that they weren't dealing with a prankster or a human at all. Whatever the black flash was, it seemed to defy all explanation. The cops are out. Like by night 8, there are cops on every corner
looking for
this
thing.
They can see each other. These cops can. And they would see the black flash between them, pin it, and it'd be gone. This is extremely similar to another story from England. And I'll wait to tell you what that is until we get to the end.
Okay.
Really similar. Some believe. The town's newspaper ran stories about the sighting, describing the figure as a phantom terror, warning people to stay indoors after dark. The panic spread, and as soon as the streets were deserted, the second lights started to flicker. So the second sun starts going down, everybody's inside. There's a demon.
Imagine living in that town.
There's a demon outside.
Gosh, literally.
People locked their doors, barricaded their windows. Nobody even had seen the black flash themselves, felt the presence of it lurking outside their homes. So it had whatever its ability was to cause that dread. You didn't have to see it for it. Some people felt like they had boarded their windows
because they just felt unsafe.
It's right there. It's outside.
Yeah.
It was as if the entire town was being haunted by a monster, an entity that could strike at any moment without warning. Some believe the black flash was a supernatural being, perhaps a ghost or a demon unleashed on Provincetown. Others think it was an alien or an interdimensional creature. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
Something beyond human understanding. There's even whispers that it might be a work of dark magic or an ancient curse brought to life to torment the town. Truth is, nobody will know for sure, and nobody ever will. One of the most unsettling reports came from a woman who had been sitting by her window late one night, unable to sleep. She claimed to have seen the black flash just standing in the shadows across the street watching her. Isn't that great? Getting watched by a 9-foot-tall demon?
It's just standing in the bushes outside your window watching.
Oh, across the street in an alley.
Okay, there you go. Same
Staring
difference.
from the darkness.
Yeah, same difference.
But it's things like 9 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot tall.
Impossibly tall, they said.
At first...
for a guy, I guess.
For a human.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what
I mean, that's...
Guy being the royal human.
9-10 foot tall is very few animals, like megafauna.
Right.
Most elephants are 10 foot tall at the shoulder. Mm-hmm. They can get 15, but most elephants are 10 foot tall.
I mean, a horse, if he stands on his back 2 legs straight up, right?
And you stretch his spine another 4 feet.
Right, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
So
at first, she thought it was just her imagination. Then she saw its eyes glowing, unnaturally bright in the dark. She froze, too scared to move. And for what felt like an eternity, the figure just stood there, staring. There, in an instant, it was gone, disappearing without sound. She didn't leave her house for 4 days after that, convinced the black flash was coming for her and would return. So after she saw it, she firmly believed, it's after me.
Trust your gut. It probably was.
The more people that talked about the black flash, the more the legend grew, and it wasn't long before people outside of Provincetown started hearing strange figures haunting the town. Some dismissed it as nothing more than mass hysteria or an elaborate hoax, but others had seen the black flash newsletter. Something real was out there, something that didn't belong, stalking the streets of Provincetown night after night. As the weeks went on, and this happening every night, as weeks went on, the sightings slowly began to taper. The black flash seemed to fade into the shadows, just as mysteriously as it appeared. before I keep reading, I want to say sightings went down because everybody was not going outside.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everybody's locking their doors.
Yeah.
No, we stopped seeing it.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys are all going to hide in your house at 6 o'clock.
Wiping our hands clean.
Yeah.
He's gone.
It died. But even the town began to return to normal. The fear never fully went away. People still spoke about the Black Flash in hushed tones, warning their children not to stay out after dark, keeping their kids and themselves having a wary eye for shadows. The legend of the Black Flash has become a part of the town's history, a chilling reminder of the night when something unexplainable had prowled their streets. Years later, they had said the Black Flash was nothing more than a figment of the town's collective imagination, a story spun out of fear and superstition. But those who had encountered it knew better. They had seen it, they had felt it. They knew whatever the Black Flash was, it wasn't something that you could explain away. It was something darker, something more primordial, something more demonic.
Ooh.
No,
Wow.
so even now, decades after the last sighting, and he popped up every once in a while after the 1939 sightings.
Mhm.
The 80s was kind of the last real big one, where dozens of people had seen it.
Like a little flap?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, no researchers have like been able to find a pattern,
Yeah.
but maybe just when he gets bored, maybe it lives under the town. Even now, decades after the last sighting, there are still those in Provincetown who believe the Black Flash will return. It's out there, somewhere in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to emerge once again. And if it does, the town will remember the terror it brought the night in the streets belonged to the Black Flash. So this one is like, I don't know if you want to call it a monster.
It seems just more like a monster / shadow person entity that's
See, I don't get shadow person vibes. From the people that seen it, it seemed to have physical characteristics.
Yeah.
They could see clothing on it.
right.
And from at least my shadow person experience and others that we have talked to, there's no definable detail.
Mhm.
The eyes, but
It's
there's
just a
there's no
shape.
physical thing to them.
Gotcha.
This thing seemed to have physics. This
Yeah.
thing seemed to interact with things. It climbed on things. It crawled over things. It was incredibly fast.
Do you think it did it when they cornered it and it disappeared? Do you think it like was climbing up over buildings?
I think it was just moving that fast that they just
Or
like when they cornered around the alley where it
Yeah.
should have been. I think it just went up.
Yeah. I mean, that'd make the most sense if it's a physical thing.
I'm thinking partially physical.
Yeah, like Bigfoot or
Some of the spiritual Bigfoots.
Right. Yeah.
I get interdimensional entity kind of vibe. I get some
Yeah.
almost like the Men in Black vibes. The whatever the interdimensional side of the Men in Black was.
Okay.
These tall, lanky, or the mirrored men even
Yeah.
moving incredibly quick. And when you talk to them, you look away, they're gone. But keep in mind, this is the early version,
Right. Yeah.
so maybe it's from the same place.
I'm trying to just draw a comparison, but I mean, it's a bunch of different things you can kind of compare it to.
So this is really similar to Spring Hill Jack,
Oh, yeah. I was going to say Jack the Ripper.
which is a different Jack.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very similar to Spring Hill Jack, except the groping.
Yeah. Spring Hill Jack.
He liked groping,
Yeah.
and he breathed fire. But a well-dressed boogeyman moving incredibly quick. The cops seen him. The cops seen this thing dozens of times.
Yeah.
The cops would see it running in between them into an alley, and they'd be gone.
How do you deal with that?
I mean, as cops, you're just out there with, I guess,
Like-
guns, just shooting into the darkness.
Right. Yeah. I guess so. You ain't going to kill the thing.
I don't know. I maybe you could if it was moving that slow. It also kind of reminds me of the hide behind like thing down in Dayton.
Okay.
The tall black entity.
Yeah. That was following kids home from school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this seemed also seemed to have a fascination with kids and young people.
And it was very tall.
Yeah. And that disappeared. Maybe it didn't disappear.
Just moved.
It was really quick.
Or that too. Yeah.
And then the unnatural way, when we've had some people on the show, like Heidi, talking about her interdimensional beings she's seen, the unnatural movement, like joints didn't matter and stuff like that.
Well, they said it was like floating,
That, and then
gliding. I mean,
talked about the unnatural like movements this thing made.
Mm-hmm.
This dread, I kind of wonder if it's just associated with like either predatory beings or interdimensional beings, maybe as a whole, that are something in our anatomy. It's like, well, that's not good.
right?
Get
Yeah,
away.
we've been here before.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you really think this thing was?
Well, I think interdimensional something, but I don't know.
I'm going interdimensional boogans.
Boogans.
Mhm.
Okay, is that like boogeyman?
Yeah, just the goblins.
Oh, okay.
Just a catch-all term.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that. I don't. Gosh,
Kind of a one-off. Like
Yeah,
wherever
this is-
Mothman's from, this is probably like Mothman was like the raccoon. And this is like a polar bear.
I was gonna say more like a big cat.
Yeah.
It's just
Incredibly
there
quick,
and it's
yeah.
watching, and then it's whoosh, gone, and then it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
Gone. Cat behavior. I don't know.
It's-
No, this is a weird one. I've never heard of this before.
It's the town still celebrates it. You can go to the town. They'll talk about the Black Flash if you ask them.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It's as far as I could find. It wasn't like a big tourist selling point, obviously.
No.
But around Halloween, they do stuff for the Black Flash, and there's a couple people you can still go kind of find the history in local places where they'll talk about the Black Flash. It's not like hidden, like we talked about Frogman already in the season. That a lot of the local establishment does not like Frogman. Individual people are fine with it.
Right.
The local establishment.
Once you've reached a certain wealth class, the stuff doesn't matter anymore.
You know, if you get a comma in your not comma, what is that?
paycheck.
Is it a comma?
Yeah, a comma. Yeah.
Okay. If you get a comma in your paycheck, that's probably not. I mean, I guess not your paycheck.
I mean, kind of.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
If you make a lot of money, you don't care about things that are real. You care about stuff that costs money and how much you have compared to your neighbor.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Vermont.
Ooh, Montpelier.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Montpelier,
Okay.
Vermont.
What do you think of for Vermont?
What do I think of?
Yeah. You already got this one in episode 2, but you thought it for another state.
Oh, I did. Oh, crap. I don't even remember what it was.
For everybody, that's 3 days of recording ago.
Gosh.
We've been recording this for 3 days.
I don't remember Vermont. I don't know.
You're going to feel like an idiot.
I already do.
Champ.
Oh yeah, Champ. Duh. Katie Elizabeth.
Yeah. Katie,
Yeah.
good friend of the show.
Yeah.
Awesome lady. Check out, she just came out with a new magazine. I think it's called, no, I'm going to try to remember, like the Freudian News Magazine or something like that.
Oh, okay.
She's producing it.
Oh wow.
Super awesome.
Yeah,
Katie's
go
a
check it
hardworking
out.
lady.
Katie Elizabeth.
Yeah, and she's the champ lady, if anybody knows. She got the audio recordings, the echolocation recordings.
Mm-hmm.
And did you see this? We'll revisit this with echolocation in lakes. Somebody just got echolocation in Lake Tahoe, a man-made lake.
Tahoe Tessie?
Whatever it is. They called it echolocation. I have a different thoughts, and we'll do a whole episode on it.
Wait, you mean someone recorded?
A deep water diver went down there. He hated every second. He said he felt like something was hunting him.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I've been in the water with dolphins and like porpoises and stuff like that. It felt like there was a porpoise beside me the whole time. Like you can't see him, you feel him.
That's weird.
And he recorded. He's like, I can feel the clicks constantly as it checking me out.
Whoa.
He's like, I've been around porpoises. That's what they do.
Whoa.
They know, like they get an internal picture of you.
Yeah.
And whatever this thing was, and then he's got audio recording associated with it.
Wow. So put a pin in that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll revisit that one.
It just made me, when you're talking about Katie, made me think of it.
Yeah.
All right, ready for this?
Yeah, Vermont.
The chilling legend of the Northfield Pigmen.
Ooh, Pigman.
Mm-hmm.
Pigmen.
Pigmen.
Okay.
Pigman, sorry.
Pigman, okay.
As a dyslexic, non-speller, yeah, I've always lost the distinction between men and man.
Okay.
That men is plural, I guess, right? And then
Correct.
man is singular.
Correct. Unless you're talking about like man,
As the plural
then it's plural.
makes no sense. This is why people with learning disabilities and foreign people, that English isn't their first language, at least American English, their first language, it's stupid to learn.
It is.
If you're new to the show, just so everybody knows, I have several learning disabilities. We haven't mentioned that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Long-time listeners know my brain's all messed up in the best of ways.
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't read or write.
But dang it, you can
I can
name
tell
off
you,
a fish fact
I was going to tell you how many
from page
scales are on a sand shiner's anus.
from like some weird like off, asterisk quote. You got to look in the back of the book for the random fact. It's there, and you know it.
So the pigmen of Northfield, Vermont. And the article we're going to be using is from Ava Martinez, a cryptozoologist. So she did a nice little article kind of going through all of this. Once again, remember, these legends are often steeped in horror. Originally, bad stuff happens to create hometown legends. Right?
Typically the way it goes.
Yep,
It
yep.
has this whole series.
In the quiet town of Northfield, Vermont, nestled among the rolling hills and dense forest, a chilling tale has taken root. The story of pigmen. The Northfield pigmen. A creature that blurs the line between myth and reality, challenging our understanding of the natural world and the power of human imagination. The origin of the haunting tale respect to the crisp autumn night. It's always autumn. Autumn is just the spookiest time of year.
It must be.
Autumn and winter.
Well, it makes sense. Halloween, it's that time of season for a reason.
Where the veil's the thinnest.
Yeah.
I think the spookiest time of year is autumn, probably. But I think if you're messing with a cryptid in the winter, you know you're going to die.
Okay.
I think the deadliest paranormal is the winter.
I can agree with that. On my unscientific, speculative thoughts, but I would agree with you. I said I would agree with you. Mm-hmm.
In 1951, the veil between the worlds would only seemed particularly thin that night. It was October 30th, known locally as Picket Night, a time when mischievous teens would engage in harmless pranks before Halloween. On the fateful night, one young prankster would unwittingly become a catalyst for a legend that endures into modern day. And keep in mind, like I said, bad things happen to make modern stories.
Right.
Sam Harris, a spirited 17-year-old boy with a picket for playful trouble, set out onto the night with a basket of eggs, ready to prank a time-honored tradition of egging a house. His friend, now don't nobody should egg a house.
Egging is not good.
It always ends bad.
Yeah.
You know how many windows have accidentally been broke egging?
Doesn't eggs don't they screw up paint on cars and stuff too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's bad.
Egging is highly destructive immediately after. I never did any of the stuff. Maybe TPing once or twice.
I've been TPing a couple times.
And I had to clean it up after the one time.
Usually you do if you're
a good kid.
Yeah.
Because they got us on the camera.
Oh, busted.
Couldn't even lie.
You didn't plan it out.
Didn't know they had a camera.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this was in 2010. That was rare.
Yeah, it's true. Before, yeah. You got scouted out, though.
What was I saying?
You got busted.
No, egging. A kid I knew were trying to egg a house. They started egging. They immediately threw 4 through a window.
Oh, gosh.
They exploded a window, and they're just oh.
Done.
Didn't think that through. That's back when chickens still got calcium in their diet, and their eggshells were strong.
Tougher, yeah.
But yeah, so he went out to egg. His friends recall him laughing as he disappeared into the darkness, promising to return with his tales of exploration. But Sam never came home. Yeah, this kid did not come back. The disappearance of Sam Harris sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community of Northfield. As dawn broke on Halloween morning, the Sam's absence became apparent. The frantic search began. Hundreds of locals combed the woods, calling Sam's name until their voices grew hoarse. Police dogs sniffed for any trace of the missing teen. A helicopter scanned the dense forest canopy from above. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Not a single clue about Sam's disappearance ever surfaced. A true missing person.
Wow.
As hope for Sam's safe return dwindled, whispers of a darker fate began to circulate. Some spoke of an ancient evil lurking in the woods, while others suggested that Sam had fallen victim to a twisted human predator. But it's the most outlandish theory that would ultimately take hold in the collective imagination of the Northfield residents. The transformation of Sam Harris from a missing teen to a monstrous entity did not happen overnight. It is a gradual process fueled by the fear, superstition, and the human need to make sense of the unexplainable. The first murmurs began by local diners and general stores, where elderly patrons began to lend in close to speak about hushed tones about demonic possession and unholy pacts. One old-timer said, "You mark my words. That boy made a deal with the devil himself, traded his soul for some kind of power, I reckon. And now he's out there, changed into something that ain't no human." These whispers grew louder and more elaborate with each retelling. Soon the story evolved into something gruesome. Sam supposedly transformed. It was said to have taken on the slaughtering pigs, devouring their entrails raw, and fashioning grotesque masks from their hollowed out heads.
Oh my! This sounds like a movie.
There's a movie based on this.
Okay.
You probably the image of the once ordinary teenager turned into a monster pig-headed creature was now firmly placed into folklore. But it wasn't until 1971, 2 decades after Sam disappeared, that the legend of the Pigman truly took shape. On a warm September night during the school dance, a group of students snuck out to the nearby sand pit for a little early drinking.
Mm.
Their laughter and chatter echoed into the trees and had summoned an eerie monster.
Pigman.
The Pigman. He's cousins to the Hamburger Man. Emerging from the shadows was a figure that would haunt their nightmares for years to come. Standing over 6 feet tall, the body covered in coarse white hair. But it was the creature's face that made everybody scream in terror. When the human visage should have been, there was instead of grotesque pig, complete with snout, eyes, and a protruding tusk. So big male pig. Students fled in panic.
Standing up or just?
Yeah, no, it was a big guy covered in white hair. Like a big white Bigfoot.
Right.
Covered in white hair.
Head.
Wearing a pig's head.
Yeah, okay.
Wearing, like, it looks like the head ripped off a pig, shoved onto a Bigfoot's body.
Yeah.
The students fled in panic, the cries alerting everybody in the dance. When adults arrived on scene, they found no trace of the creature, save from the temple of trampled undergrowth. Foul odors also were emanating from the area, as if a guy was wearing a rotten pig.
Right.
The teen story spread like wildfire through Northfield. Registration interest for long-forgotten case of Sam Harris. So in the days following, more and more sightings were reported. A farmer on the outskirts of town had claimed to see a similar figure rooting through his garbage bins one night. And then he shone a flashlight on the intruder. He swears the creature looked at him with an eerily human eyes before scampering off into the darkness on 2 legs. Another resident reported hearing inhuman squeals and grunts coming from the woods behind her property. When she investigated the next morning, she found trails of destruction, broken branches, churned earth. Most disturbingly, the half-eaten carcasses of one of her missing pigs.
Okay.
These incidents marked the beginning of a new chapter in Northfield's history. The Pigman was no longer a cautionary tale, but it had become a very real thing in the townspeople's community.
Wow.
Fear gripped the community, with parents forbidding children from venturing into the woods alone at night, and farmers keeping their livestock shut in.
I don't think it's the kid. I think this thing probably killed the kid.
Oh, I mean, I would agree.
Yeah. I don't think it's poor Sam.
As sightings continued to mount, attention turned to the area known as the Devil's Wash Bowl. A natural formation characterized by a steep cliff, winding streams, and numerous caves, becoming a focal point for the Pigman's activities. The ominous name, the predation for the Pigman legend, only added to the area's reputation. Local teenager Jeff Hatchett, who would later become known as the unofficial historian of the Pigman legend, described his first visit to the Devil's Wash Bowl in the summer of 1972. It was like stepping into another world. The temperature dropped as soon as we arrived in the ravine. The sunlight barely penetrated the thick canopy above. The sounds of rushing water echoed on the rock walls. Something sounded like whispers or distant screams. We were there to look for signs of the Pigman, but honestly, I was more scared of the place itself. The whole place, it felt alive. It felt like the place was watching us. Anybody's ever been in a real haunted location?
Yeah.
You get that feeling.
You get that, yes.
TJ's house.
I didn't get it.
You were there for 8 minutes.
I stayed the night.
Barely, with 18 other people.
Oh.
Then you left me, you abandoned me.
18 other people with
1,
you.
2, 3, 4, 5.
5?
Mm-hmm.
Who? No.
Mm-hmm.
4. 3.
3.
5.
5.
Where are you getting 5 from?
This Native American statue.
Yeah, okay. Still, that's 4.
No, I guess our Mikey was only there for most of the night.
Yeah, he didn't stay. Like, he didn't sleep over. But, no, I know what you're saying, though, and you get that feeling. Like I mentioned, I think even earlier in this season, or season finale, when I talked about being in that haunted house in Columbus, freaked out at first. It felt just scary.
Oh, if you go to a real place, you can tell. Like,
I mean, I was scared. Like, it was weird. But then I just realized, that was just all the hype.
So Jeff and his friends spent hours exploring the area, peering into the dark cavern openings and searching for tracks in soft mud near the streams. While they didn't encounter the Pigman that day, they did make some chilling discoveries in one of the large caverns. We found a pile of bones.
Ooh.
Some were definitely animal. We recognized deer and what looked like pig bones, but there were others, larger bones we couldn't identify. and carved into the cave, while above the pile of bones was crude drawings of figures with pig heads. We got out of there real quick. So as the legend grows, the Devil's Washbowl became a pivoting ground for brave, foolish teenagers to test their courage against the legend of the Pigman. It was not uncommon for carloads of high schoolers to park near the entrance of the ravine on weekends and each venture inside. Most returned with nothing more than a heightened sense of adrenaline and an overactive imagination. But a few brought back stories, new added later to the Pigman myth. So one such account came from Sarah Jennings, who was a junior at Northfield High School in 1975. She and her boyfriend Mike had drove out to the Devil's Washbowl on Friday before interested in finding a secluded spot for romance than hunting monsters. As they sat in Mike's car, talking to each other.
What do you mean talking?
Wink.
Yeah, wink. Just sitting there talking.
A sudden thud against the driver's side door shattered the mood. We both jumped, Sarah said. Mike turned on the headlights, and we both saw it. The Pigman was right there, not 3 feet in front of the car. It was hunched over, but taller than a man. Its body was covered in patchy, thick white hair, and its head, oh God, its head was a pig's face. It was said to have horrifying human eyes. Sarah's story took an even more terrifying turn as she described what happened next. What do you think happened?
Oh, everybody ripped one of them out, ripped her boyfriend out of the car.
It started scratching at the door like it was trying to get in. It sounded awful, the screeching of claws on metal. Mike floored it, and it peeled out. I looked to the side mirror. The Pigman was chasing us, running on 2 legs, but faster than any person. We didn't stop until we got back to town. So there you go. And this still happens. Every once in a while, there's still a Pigman story in Northfield.
Wow. I really don't know what to make of this. Like, whether it's paranormal or like a real physical Bigfoot or even just a feral, jacked, yoked dude that's got problems. I don't know. Like Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think of. It's Jason.
So this is really common for a lot of the Goatman stuff. Like the Lover's Lane Goatman, Arkansas, the Hatchet Men stories. And even here in Ohio, there's a similar one over by, I just forgot the name of the lake. Over by Mohican State Park.
Okay.
There's a similar story of a creature like this. Now, all different heads, but the Pigman, this is one of those things like we've talked about all the season finale. The American culture, I don't know if we are manifesting this into existence. I don't know if the thing was already out there. Pig people are not foreign to the United States. They're all up and down the country.
Yeah.
Everything from Massachusetts to Florida.
And it's referenced in all sorts of media, too.
Is it?
Well, there's Seinfeld. They talk about the Pigman.
Do they?
Yeah, Kramer sees a Pigman in the hospital.
I do remember that. I think
we talked about it on here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's other mentions of Pigmen, too, in TV and movies and stuff. Interesting.
But yeah, so this is something like, it's just this weird thing. The island Dr. Moreau gets brought up a lot. Some people think it was just a bear that was in the area.
Okay.
Like, a black bear gets blamed for about every single thing that's ever happened.
Right. Especially putting on, shoving their heads in the pig's head.
I've seen them stuck in big jars.
Okay.
I could see a black bear's head getting stuck in a pig.
Man, still having the human eyes. I don't know.
Or
it could be some government hybrid experiment gone wrong.
This would be about the right time when they started that stuff in the 70s.
Yeah, it could just be that, and this thing escaped. And then what are they gonna do? Contain it? No. 'Cause look what it's doing to people. That's what I think it could be. I guess I'm more likely to think of that government experiment.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's a weird one.
No, so local businesses have begun to capitalize on the Pigman's notoriety. So I love these things. The Crossroads Diner has a Pigman platter on the menu.
Nice.
It has a heaping plate of bacon, ham, and sausages. And it promises to satisfy even the most monstrous appetite. The Northfield General Store started selling Pigman t-shirts and keychains for any curious tourists through town. I love towns that do this stuff. If you have like a little monster, like this, or any of them, I love it when towns kind of double down on it.
I just hope it's not killing people.
Now personally, I don't think Sam's disappearance had anything to do with the Pigman.
Okay.
Because it was 20 years earlier,
Yeah, well.
and there was no sightings of the Pigman beforehand. I think your explanation is much more likely
What?
that this was a government
escapee.
a government escapee.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the same thing with the East Coast goat man.
Yeah.
Was a hybrid between man and goat that escaped.
And we have the abilities to make hybrid humans.
Oh, we can do this.
We have Japan's doing it right now as we
Japan's
speak.
doing it right now.
They have been.
I've seen pictures of some of the monster embryos they've made.
And that's public.
Yeah.
So what's going on in private?
Mhm.
It's what's the word? Asinine.
Asinine.
Mhm.
One of my favorite words. Perhaps one of the most notable examples of pigman-inspired commerce came from the Gold Measure Brewing Company, which introduced its popular Pigman Lives IPA.
Gosh.
A beer labeled featuring its specialized depiction of the creature lurking in the shadows woods. It became the brewery's best-selling product. I don't know if any of you guys from Northfield area ever meet us. Bring me one of these Pigman IPAs.
You think they still make it?
Yeah, no, it's this
Still a
brewery
thing?
company's like it's a local brewer,
Mhm.
but it's been their most popular flavor ever.
Wow.
This was just a couple years ago they started making this thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The town is really like into it.
So it's like the opposite of Frogman.
Yeah.
Like, so all the Frogman had to do is just potentially kill some people or torture people or torment them mentally, scare them, and then
The Frogman did that. The Pigman, if you
Kind
get
of.
rid of the Sam Harris as part of the story.
Well, the guy, I mean, trying to get into the car, that's pretty scary. The Frogman never did stuff like that. Just point a wand at one guy.
Almost gave him a heart attack.
That's because of him.
And the cops shot it to death.
Whatever it was. They shot
An iguana in March.
Yeah, you're scared of an iguana?
A big tailless iguana that took 9 shots to the chest.
I don't know. It's weird.
Can you believe that? Like, that happened.
Like, that was an actual explanation to explain away something.
No, like, the cop said that it was an iguana.
Right, yeah.
I shot an iguana and threw it in a dumpster.
No, they burned it.
An incinerator, you're right.
Yeah.
Environmental impacts. The legend also has profound impacts on the local environment of Northfield. The woods that surrounds the town is often a place of natural beauty and resources, took as a more sinister aspect. Parents warn their children not to go into the woods anymore. Seasoned hunters admitted to feeling uneasy in these deep woods. The shift in this led to some unexpected consequences. As fewer and fewer locals ventured into the wilderness, local wildlife populations began to rebound. Birdwatchers reported seeing species that haven't been common in the area in decades.
Wow. Ralph, care to comment?
Game cameras set up captured images of healthy deer, bears, and the occasional moose that had also been absent for decades.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a lot of locals thank the Pigman for saving some of their environmental stuff. There's still sightings. 2015, Monsters and Mysteries in America featured the Northfield Pigman, and they got some locals that had claimed to see it in recent time.
He's a forest protector.
You could go the elemental side.
Yeah.
This thing. I get some very Goatman vibes from it.
Just what's with the pig head?
Well, it's with the goat head.
I guess you're right.
But bipedal creature has horns.
It's an abomination.
There's a lot of pig people.
So there are theories that all pigs were once humans.
That's not our theory.
No, it's not our. I said there are theories.
Oh, I thought you said that's our theory.
No,
I don't think that's my theory.
There are theories. That's why their organs are so similar. They're compatible with humans. Why certain cultures don't eat pig because it's just basically a form of cannibalism. I don't know. It's interesting stuff. We're very similar.
Are we?
I think so.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
Mm-hmm. What's the capital? This one I wouldn't get.
Concord.
It is. The grape.
The what?
The grape.
Concord grapes. Okay. New Hampshire.
So this one I have.
Is this? Are we going to Lake Winnipesaukee?
What?
Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire? Oh, darn it.
If you had a suggestion, you should have told me 2 weeks ago.
No, that's just from a movie. What About Bob?
Oh, I'm like...
New Hampshire?
UFO. We have a UFO finally. So this one is... Okay. Engulfed in darkness in the late summer. This is by Bonnie Methroth. A teenage Navy recruit walked down a quiet country highway. Suddenly, a huge object loomed above him, throwing himself to the ground to avoid being hit. Like this thing came flying at him.
Mm-hmm.
Massive UFO. huddled against the stone wall, blood drained from his face. At this time, it was around 2 a.m. The date was September 3rd, 1965. Thus began the incident at Exeter. Is that how you say it? Exeter.
Exeter. Exeter?
Exeter?
Yeah.
Exeter, New Hampshire.
I don't know. It's probably wrong. Like
So the incident at Exeter is a
Gloucester.
series of incredible sightings, officially quantified as a legitimate visit from unidentified flying object. This is one I never heard about before doing this.
Okay.
This is one of these big UFO flaps that still I guess, a little bit talked about to this day.
Okay.
But a lot of eyewitnesses, a lot of crazy stuff
A lot
happened.
of
Like
people.
this guy almost got smacked by a UFO flying down the highway.
Right in the face.
Mhm.
Out of in the sight.
So, on September and October of 1965, several sightings in New Hampshire were carefully investigated and documented by the local and federal offices. The encounter at night took spiraling procedures over other UFOs because of the credibility of the executor police officer Eugene Bitterind and David Hunt, as well as Reginald Scratch Toland, who was the dispatcher and supervising officer when the shaken teenager Norman Mascalato came to the police station claiming he had encountered a UFO. So instantly, a lot of credible eyewitnesses, a lot of credible people, a Navy recruit. It's Navy. It's right now. It's military and police
Okay.
are the encountered people.
Okay.
So it's kind of the opposite of how most of these start.
Right. Where it's civilians usually, like
Yeah.
just common people.
All of a sudden, similar reports substance its story. Earlier, Bettered had come upon a lone woman parked on the side of Route 101 near the overpass 2 miles from Exeter. She said a huge, silent, red and brilliant, glowing airborne object had chased her from the town of Epton, about 12 miles away. It had only been a few feet behind her car before it departed at a tremendous speed and disappeared. So this massive glowing object
Right behind her.
right under her bumper,
Mhm.
chasing her. She basically said when she looked out her rear windows, or mirrors,
It's all lights.
it's all this big UFO.
Mhm.
And then after about 12 miles, it just whoop, gone. Bartner said nothing about, or saw nothing but a bright star on her way home. So Olin also spoke to a woman. She told that she had been chased by a low-flying, large, round object with flashing red lights.
Okay.
So whatever this UFO is running up and down the highway chasing cars.
Interesting.
So already first night, 4 different eyewitnesses.
Yeah, but I got an idea.
Okay. About an hour later, the police received a call from Toland and reported that the station immediately because a kid had come in and seen a UFO. The police officer picked up Mascalano at the station. The teen led him back to the site where he'd seen the craft. After sitting in the parked cruiser for several minutes, the officer radioed to the dispatcher and said they saw nothing unusual. The officer, instructed to check out the field before heading back, proceeded to do so with the young Navy recruit. Horses in the nearby barn were kicking and whinnying. Dogs in the neighborhood began to go nuts. The young teen shouted, "Look out, here it comes again." As they watched as something luminous rose from behind the evergreens. The UFO was hiding behind the trees.
Mhm.
The aircraft was about 100 feet away, silently sped so close that they dropped to the ground, and the officer drew his service weapon.
Okay.
So this giant UFO hiding behind,
Swooped at him.
once it knows that the jig's up,
Yeah.
flying at him, so close to the ground, they had to lay down, and the cop pulls out his gun. There was this huge dark object, as big as the barn, over with red flashing lights on it, the officer told the investigators. It barely cleared the trees right there, and then moved back and forth. It seemed to tilt and come right at us. Norman told as later that I was yelling, I'll shoot it. I did drop on one knee and drew my service revolver, but I did not shoot it. The officer dragged the young Navy team, frozen in fear, back to the cruiser. From the car, the men saw no tail, no wings, and heard no sound. Already en route, Hunt arrived within minutes and saw the UFO as it floated, wobbled, and did things no plane could do, for it darted back towards the Hamptons, which has its own famous UFO sightings. They returned to the station to write the report. Tolan received a call shortly after from the Hamptons telephone operator saying there was a distressed motorist attempting to contact the police from a payphone. He yelled at the operator saying that he's being chased by a flying saucer, and they come right at him, and he's still out there circling. He was then disconnected.
Got him.
This guy's like hiding in a payphone.
Yeah.
So this UFO tried to run me off the road, and it's circling me in the payphone. This thing's the size of a barn.
Right, yeah.
And then it gets cut. I mean, immediately they're like, well, that guy's dead.
Yep, he's dead.
Tolan received a call shortly after from the Hamptons telephone. Oh, I already read that. Sorry, guys. The Hampton Police Department blotted entry at that night reads, September 3rd, 1965, a.m., Exeter Police Department reports unidentified flying objects in the area. Unit 2 and 4 in PZ Air Force alerted. At 3:17 a.m., received call from Exeter operator and Officer Toland. Advised a male subject called and asked for the police department, further stating that the call was a large identified object. The call was then cut off. Call received from Hampton payphone. Location unknown. That's the actual police report.
That's what it says?
Yeah. The officer reported this to Project Bluevic from the director of the Administration Services, PZ Air Force Base at Portsmouth, collided with the paragraph above the investigator. At this time, we've been unable to arrive at a plausible cause for the sighting. 3 observers seemed to be stable, rational people, especially the 2 patrolmen. I viewed the area and found nothing in the area that could be a probable cause. Project Blue Book was compelled by the United States government to repeat the existence of any extraterrestrial objects. If anybody doesn't know, we've talked about Project Blue Book a lot. The docudrama on Roku is a great example of it. It really shows how his whole opinion changed
After he went through the process of checking all these things out.
And how later on he found that the government, after he's turning his reports, were editing his reports. Yeah.
The government wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah. Peter Garmia, New Hampshire State Director of Mutual Identified Flying Object Network, MUFON, noted the police officers involved were put in their careers online. They courageously came forward to state that they had saw the times when the witnesses were not allowed any credible to the subject. So basically, these cops came forward when UFOs were being shot down, like as in UFO eyewitnesses were being shot down left and right. You guys are crazy nuts. These 2 cops still came forward and said, yeah, we seen him.
Yeah, it's happening.
I was with one of the eyewitnesses and one tried to kill us.
Yes.
So keeps going. I mean, back and forth. This is a spot people still go out to. It's weird because it's known in some circles, but I think because the Hamptons UFO sightings
help or
overshadow it.
Yes, take over. I was gonna say bring attention to this area, but no, it would just overshadow.
There was other stories, other recent from the Executor incident. The secondhand speculation stories were varied and perhaps hypothesized. Fowler says the Navy officer's mother purposely saw conflicting drawings of the UFO landing site patterns that was handcuffed on the Air Force investigator who visited the house. Neighboring farmers also instructed the Air Force to plow under the land to mark up the field. So there was a site that had UFO landing marks, and the Air Force had the farmers plow it all up.
Oh.
So you couldn't see what it was.
Well, that's not good. Well, and with UFO, at least real, I don't know, landing marks, crop circles even, there's radiation found in those.
Now wait till you hear the next thing I'm about to say.
Okay.
All of the hens in the neighborhood stopped laying eggs. The Air Base intelligence officer was seen buying up all the newspapers carrying this story on September 3rd. A base commander seen in civilian clothes rather than uniform was investigating, he recalled. So all the animals stopped, all the hens stopped laying eggs. Most of the cows stopped producing milk. And a guy from the base, the Air Force Base, was buying every newspaper,
right,
in civilian clothes
to suppress that story.
Yeah. There are major similarities with the area sightings that confirmed with documented cases. UFOs tend to seen near swamps, power lines, nuclear sources. All these are around this area. But yeah, so this is just one I thought was really interesting. Project Blue Book has so many of these big hidden stories. So it was seen by at least 5 eyewitnesses. This really big, weird UFO. It was either chasing cars, running straight at people. We do not know what happened to the guy on the telephone. No, he never came forward again. I don't know if he got or he just got away finally and just was like, I'm done with this. Like,
He got got.
You know,
this is a genius. If the newspaper company was smart,
I
would be printing that edition of that paper every day for the rest of my life.
Well, the problem is right after this is when they started shooting newspaper editors.
Oh, okay.
Because the government's like, it's easier than buying 5,000 newspapers if we shoot them in the head.
Yeah, they do that too. Or just light their whole entire town on fire. And then get big corporations that buy up all their land on top of it.
Oh.
That's much easier
I don't think it's anything to do with the newspaper, though.
Well, but it's just way government control. It controls area. But yeah, just keep printing that paper and have them keep paying you. That's easy money.
So, what do you think of this thing was?
I think
1965.
I think it was an atmospheric creature.
Do you?
In some ways, yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because it was acting like a predator, like an actual animal with predatory behaviors.
What did it do that was predatory?
It was circling people. It was dive bombing people like a bird.
Why didn't it grab them?
Who's to say it didn't try?
What do you mean? The guy was just sitting in the field.
Remember they laid down under it and might have missed.
Yeah, why didn't it come back around?
Because it wanted them.
The Navy kid, it just passed him.
Yeah, well, maybe it wasn't.
And it was hiding.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was just trying to get them out of its area. Maybe it was breeding atmospheric creature and they got too close.
I do think it could be. That could be what happened here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also get some similarities with Indrid Cold's egg ship.
Okay.
That was running up and down the highway.
Yeah.
And then ran cars off the road and stuff like that.
That'd be something more. Why would they be doing it, though? Like, why?
I don't know, but Indrid Cold's ship did this to people. I don't know. If it is an atmospheric creature, I could just liken the lights. We've talked about that with some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. That when they chase cars, maybe that likes the lights.
Well, that's the other thing, too. I was thinking with the atmospheric creature. Yeah. And just that was drawing it in. But it was the red flashing colors, too. It's like
tail lights, it was behind the cars.
Yeah.
Red flash. May have been trying to talk to them.
Or, yeah, exactly. Maybe it was communicating, like.
Trying to flash the same colors back.
Right, yeah.
If it is an atmospheric, I don't know.
It was acting with intelligence.
It's just super, super weird. It does have, to me, some Indrid Cold ship things.
Yeah. But what if his ship's... What if his ship's alive?
Well, I think there is that, but that's a different type of living UFO.
Okay. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe they harness the power of traveling in these things because look how good they are at it. So you just can embed yourself in it. I don't know. But maybe when you park them, they get on a little mind of their own and they go chasing after tail lights.
Maybe. But this is one that's still on a lot of UFO highlighters, tripping guides and stuff like that. The fields apparently did have spiking radiations for a couple years. They had trouble growing stuff. Livestock in the area was very unusual for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Very common 403s for the 60s and 70s. UFO flaps.
What if it was an interdimensional atmospheric creature that they pulled through? Acting, like how Mothman, gave people radiation sickness. It's the same thing, came from the same world, getting people sick, ruining the crops, the animals. Because it's from the other dimension, it's affecting everything.
Could be.
And it's massive.
I don't know. Could be. And with that, we will end part 6. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying this mayhem episodes.
We're almost to the end.
Hopefully we finish this today. I want to be done. It's about this time, hour 8 or 9 in the season finale, where I'm just like,
we're getting rough.
I hate when I do this to myself.
Me too.
Well, I do this to you.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
I have been the great and powerful mystery.
Been J Clone 6.
We'll catch you next week, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to Cryptids the Corn podcast. Remember, the best way to support the show is share it with a friend. But if you are craving more of the J Clones
and more from Mr. E,
there's always extra content on Patreon
and our paid member space on cryptidsofthecorn.com.
We'll catch you next time with more exciting, fun, and informative information. Bye.